friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Aso Tarot, and in today's Pick a Turtle reading, we are going to be getting a pep talk from the universe and myself to you. So no matter what you're going through, whether life's going well, whether life is tough, everybody deserves a pep talk and everybody deserves to have someone cheering them on. So I thought today would be a great time to do that. So this is a timeless reading. Whenever you find it, it is yours for the watching. So we have 4 different stacks of oracle cards to choose from with 4 different turtles on top. Starting with the first stack of oracle cards, we have this Smoky Quartz turtle. And then for the second stack of oracle cards, we have this Serpentine turtle. And then for the third stack of oracle cards, we have this flower agate turtle. And then finally, for the fourth stack of cards, we have this Rhodochrosite turtle. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to decide which pile you feel most drawn to. This is an excellent example of where it is absolutely okay to pick more than one. There is nothing wrong with more pep and more encouragement in your life. Feel free to watch all of them or none of them, whatever works for you. And then once you have picked your pile or piles, you can go ahead and scroll down to the description box or the comment section where I will have all the timestamps listed below. And then once you have picked your pile or piles, I will see you in your reading. Hi there, pile 3. If you guys, pile 3, you're pile 1. What? All right, well, there might be a message there for you. I don't know. I haven't filmed it yet. I literally just started and I don't know what to tell you. Hi, pile 1. Let's start your reading. If you guys chose the Smoky Quartz turtle, this is going to be your reading. And we're going to go ahead and start by doing just a small energy check to see what energy you are either entering or what this pep talk is going to be about. So to start, we are starting off strong with the butt planet, Miss Uranus herself. And we have the throat chakra. So this is really cool. And what I'm hearing is that this is either an energy that you've already been experiencing and need guidance on, or it is an energy that you will be experiencing soon. And so Spirit is kind of giving you the heads up because this is going to happen very suddenly, as you can kind of see with the lightning in this Uranus card. I did also want to mention, because this is a throat chakra and Uranus, if you would like to heal your throat chakra by putting any incredibly immature butt chokes in the comments, I think that would be great. I think that would be amazing, and I will definitely be liking any funny butt jokes I see. So there's your encouragement. Anyway, you are going to be, if you're not already experiencing this, flashes of insight and genius and brilliance. Like that's, I know those sound like intense adjectives, but for those of you where this already resonates, you might be like, oh my God, finally somebody is talking about this because I don't know how to handle this. For everybody who's choosing this pile, you're being given these strokes of brilliance or these strokes of genius, not just to keep them held within. The fact that we have the throat chakra here, this really goes to show that you are healing your throat chakra, whether you realize it or not. And it is leading you to be able to share and express these beautiful insights that the universe is either going to give you or that the universe has been giving you. Now, one thing I completely understand is when you feel called to share certain things like this, obviously they're a bit out of the box, they're a bit different, and it's easy to be misunderstood. And so your guides are really here to say, we didn't give you, or we're not giving you this guidance or this brilliance or these ideas for you to just sit on them. We're giving them to you to act on them. But the scary thing, obviously, is that not everybody can understand your perspective or where you're coming from. And it can be incredibly isolating to have brilliant ideas because oftentimes people will talk them down or not believe in you or talk you down and say what you're doing isn't possible or that it can't happen. And I feel like the universe is encouraging you to not let what other people think and to not let the fear of rejection or the fear of getting something wrong the first time, or the fear of being misunderstood hold you back from living this truth. Because for some of you, the recent insights that you've had about yourself have to do with your identity. So for those of you where that's the case, I think you're really being encouraged to be kind to yourself about this and create a space for yourself where you can really start to explore who you are and explore just the kind of opportunities of, okay, I've learned more about myself. How can I continue following this journey of like self-actualizing more? How can I speak my truth to others in a way that is going to be kind but also firm? Like, what I'm seeing here is that you're different. Oh my God. All right, Jughead. That's so funny. I literally had somebody send me that I'm weird video today and I completely forgot about it. But what I really see happening for you is you're going to be continuously hit with these either, like I said, for some of you, this is creative ideas, things you need to create. For others, it's bursts of insight and inspiration around yourself or where you want your life to head. For others, it could be about concepts or ideas or downloads about the future that you don't necessarily have evidence of, but you feel like you need to act on. For example, I feel like whatever the case may be for you, you're really, really being encouraged to, at the very least, write what you're getting down, because these bursts of inspiration, you might get them and think like, oh, I'll remember them. I don't need to write them down. No, you need to write them down. If you're not acting on them immediately, you need to write them down, whether it's in your notes in your phone or on a piece of paper, whatever it may be. Any bursts of inspiration that you have, write them down and be clear, be specific. Do not do like abbreviations. Do not write very sloppily so that you can't read your handwriting later. Like things like that. You're really being encouraged to take advantage of what the divine is trying to give you, because if you don't, it will be it will be gone just as quickly as it came. I don't know, there could be a John that's significant. But what I really see here is you're being encouraged to value your uniqueness and your perspective and the ideas that you're having, because there is not only wisdom to be pulled from that, but also you could inspire a lot of other people. And you might be held back and held down right now by the fear of, well, what about the people that don't get me? What about the people that won't like that? What about the people that, you know, won't support me? And I with peace and love, fuck those people. But also those people should not stop you from following what feels right to you, because I promise you there are going to be far more people that are cheering you on and looking at what you're creating or what you're sharing or what you're expressing and seeing it as brilliant, seeing it as useful, seeing it as helpful for their life, seeing it as inspirational. And I think that you have no idea just how many people you could inspire by using your voice and by using, you know, the life lessons that you've already learned and using the wisdom and knowledge that you already have to help uplift others as well. I definitely think that is a gift that you have and a gift that you're being encouraged to express in whatever way that is for you. But I feel like there is this kind of realization of you can't hide your truth anymore. You can't hide you. And you're really only hurting yourself by doing that. Obviously, you know, of course, when it comes to safety, you know, be safe first. But when it comes to living and expressing your truth, the only thing holding you back is fear. The only thing holding you back is a fear of rejection, for example. That's something you want to look at and think, you know, maybe the people who would reject the true me aren't meant to be aligned with you in the first place. But we're going to go ahead and get some tarot cards now and see what messages of encouragement Spirit wants to give you. I did want to say this kind of reminds me of Prometheus. If you are unaware of Prometheus's story, which I'm not great at recalling Greek mythology based off of memory. I'm pretty sure last video I messed up Persephone and Hades with Orpheus and Eurydice. So like take my knowledge with a grain of salt. But you know, Prometheus got all the gods mad at him because he essentially gave humans fire. And, you know, they were like, dude, Prometheus, like, what the fuck? Like, we weren't going to give humans fire. And so as a result, it did not end well for Prometheus. However, I don't think that your punishment would be as insane as Prometheus's is. So I wouldn't worry about like kind of the ending part, but you should expect that when you do things outside of the box, that when you do things differently, there will be haters, because there are literally haters for everything, the most ridiculous, mundane things. I mean, go on TikTok, go on any sort of reel, and you'll see people, you know, meticulously judging and hating for the dumbest reasons. Like, people have no lives, and you know what? They're judging and critiquing because they're not as brilliant, and they don't have the inspiration or the energy to create cool things. And you know what? That's what makes them haters, and that's what separates you from them, because you're creating and putting more good into the world rather than just critiquing what's already there. You're actually providing value. Anyway, okay. So let's get some encouragement, Spirit. What encouragement do you want to give pile 1, not 3, pile 1 when it comes to speaking their truth and their ideas? What do they need to know about this Uranus throat chakra energy? So we have the 6 of Cups. I remember and treasure past happiness. I picked this deck specifically because there's like really wonderful affirmations on it. So if any of these affirmations stick out to you, I would write them down or maybe screenshot them, hold on to them so that you have them for a rainy day. But what else, Spirit? We have the 5 of Swords. I will heal myself. We also have the King of Cups. I am my own anchor. Oh, Spirit. We have the Page of Wands. I am always open to good news. We have the Star. I am inspired and positive about the future. I love this one. And on the back of the deck, we have the Queen of Swords. I protect what matters to me. And I think that this is an excellent place to start because I think it's great with the throat chakra. You know, obviously the sword suit relates to communication. And I think that you're really being encouraged to protect your ideas, to protect your truth, and not feel like you have to share it with everyone if you don't feel comfortable. But at the same time, defending yourself and not being afraid to stand up for yourself and your truth, because it's not like you've come to these conclusions based upon illogical things that make no sense. Like, you've come to the conclusions you have through your lessons, through your growth, through your evolution, and you're being given these things. That's so funny that the World card would come out underneath here saying, I celebrate life and welcome new energy, because it seems like you're closing out a really important cycle when it comes to choosing your battles, because I just saw the Knight of Swords, I choose my battles carefully, popping out. And I do think that is important. Like, the fact that we have the 5 of Swords here, it is quite possible that you've gotten into disagreements or arguments with people, or maybe you dealt with bullying growing up, or maybe you even still continue to deal with it, which, if that's the case, drop the Addy. I'll be there. I'll fight them. I'm only half kidding. Anyway, I do think that you're recognizing that there's more than just being beaten down by life. And I think the universe is encouraging you to continue to remember that, and to remember just how strong you are and how much you've grown and how much you've overcome. And even though that shouldn't be a metric of like how valuable you are, or it shouldn't necessarily be something that's celebrated, that life is difficult and that people are mean and that we get, you know, knocked down sometimes. Unfortunately, that's just life. And in an idealistic world, sure, everyone would be kind and everyone would uplift each other, and there wouldn't be such awful corruption and greed and you know, all that shit. But there is, and that's life. And you know, it's our job as the humans that are currently living to try and at least make the world a little bit better than the way we left it, because our kids and our grandkids are gonna have to inherit this place. And the world that we got brought down to us, she needs some work. She needs some help. But we're doing our best. And I think that the universe and the divine are giving you these opportunities to not only learn more about yourself and walk the road less traveled here, but also to bring about ideas, concepts, inventions that could genuinely benefit the future. With the star here, the universe is really saying here, like, what we're giving you could be very valuable. It could, one, propel you into an entirely new career. It could propel an entirely new field. It could propel, you know, lots of research. It could, whatever you're doing, whatever this truth is to you, you're being encouraged to honor it, to protect it, and to continue to do what you need to do in order to be inspired and positive about the future, because otherwise you're wasting the lemons life is giving you. With the Six of Cups, one thing that the universe is saying is that some of these ideas you may have had in childhood and may have like completely forgot about them, and you might be re-inspired to pursue those ideas again, or to look at them from a more adult perspective and see how you can make them more practical or applicable. But also, I think with the Five of Swords and the Six of Cups, there's some deeply rooted inner child wounds that are stopping you from feeling safe when it comes to expressing yourself. And with this Page of Wands here, I really see you in this Page of Wands, you know, this just happy little child, like wanting to follow what feels right and what's exciting. And I think that you're really being encouraged to look on the bright side of things. I think that you are likely a very optimistic kid, someone to really look at the glass half full. And I think because you were such a light, it's quite possible that a lot of people didn't like that about you and really wanted to bring you down a peg because they were jealous that they weren't as freaking happy as you. They're literally haters. They're like, I think part of your life's mission is to learn how to overcome adversity, in the sense of not letting any adverse opinions, any adverse adversity in general, stop you from following what feels right to you, even if you don't have the validation in the present that what you're doing is right or good. I mean, think about how many artists that don't get famous or that don't blow up until after they die, which I know sounds really depressing, because I'm not saying that that's going to happen at all, but I'm saying in the sense of like, sometimes we don't even see our own vindication. Sometimes we don't even see our own success, but that doesn't make what we did any less important. And I think that's why the universe is really trying to get you to not rely on external validation when it comes to expressing your ideas or sharing your truth with the world, because it's quite possible there could be a lot of people that don't understand it, or a lot of people that are just literally not even intelligent enough to wrap their mind around it. And so it's like you can't, you know, that Rick and Morty episode where like they're at the heist fest, like the heist con or something, and they're all booing Rick, and he's like, your boos mean nothing to me. I've seen what makes you cheer. Like, that's kind of what you need to think about, in the sense of like, Rick, you know, he's a cynical asshole because he's really smart and whatever, but he's also incredibly egoic and doesn't, I actually, it'd be really fun to psychoanalyze Rick. Maybe that's something I need to do, psychoanalyze TV characters. But anyway, when it comes to you, I feel like you are not meant to allow the outside opinions, the outside world to affect what you create or who you decide to be or become, because you will find, the right people will find you. It's almost like you're being encouraged to create or to do or to become whatever you're being guided or called to do, to just be and live in that truth. And your soul family, the people that are meant to encourage you and be by your side, are going to find you, like, through this. Like, if you've been wanting to find your soul family, if you've been wanting to find the people that truly resonate with you, the divine has been doing that by giving you these bursts of inspiration, and you need to trust that it's leading you somewhere, and you'll know it feels right because you'll feel it in your gut. But the thing is that feeling will be fleeting. It's kind of like lightning, you know, it's going to hit, and it's going to hit really hard, and it, you know, it's going to strike, and you're going to feel it, and you're going to know it's that divine inspiration. But the thing is that after that, that's when the doubt starts creeping in. that's when I don't know if I can do this. What if I fail? What if it sucks? That's okay. Just keep building, just keep going. Don't think about don't think about failing or doubts or shit like that. You know, failure is just an opportunity to learn and to grow. And a lot of inventions, a lot of people that invent things have to fail a lot before they find what works, and that's okay. You don't need to look at things through this lens of perfectionism. You need to look at things through the lens of a pioneer and recognize that when you're doing something outside of the box, when you're doing something that requires brilliance and genius, you're going to be more affected by the pitfalls than the people that follow you and that inspired by you will be, because you're the one that had to experience those challenges first. You're the one that had to come up with the solutions for it, if you did. You know, if you think about it in the sense of like pioneers, you know, they dealt with some shit crossing, I don't even want to go into that, but like, point is that life's hard, shit's hard, it's always going to be hard, but the divine is trying to give you things to make it a little bit easier for the people after you and for yourself in terms of following what's true to your life path. And you're really being encouraged to not let your past hold you back, because your future is where it's at. Your future is where the beauty lies. Your future is where truth lies. Your future is where your contentment and your peace lies. And it should in the present. But sometimes we can't do that in the present because we're struck by divine inspiration and have to focus on something. You know, inner peace is a great thing to strive for on a daily basis, but when you're struck with divine inspiration like this, sometimes you're going to hyper focus. Sometimes you're going to lose yourself in what you're creating, and that's that's okay. Like, it's madness and genius working together to create something insane. Like, I really feel like, obviously, don't completely disregard your needs, but I also feel like you're being encouraged to allow your divine inspiration to take you wherever feels right, so long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else. But with the King of Cups being here, I think you've really learned a lot when it comes to emotional maturity, when it comes to living your truth, when it comes to understanding why people behave the way they do, and understanding that a lot of times, you know, it's not personal. It's oftentimes says a lot more about the person, you know, doing the messed up thing than it does the people that are being mistreated, like you, for example. I think what you're recognizing is when you feel good, when you feel safe, when you feel solid in yourself, and you are your own anchor, then it doesn't matter what craziness lies outside of you, because you can always rely on yourself to help yourself feel secure, to anchor yourself, and to help you feel like, okay, I've got this, I can keep going. I'm fucking pile 1, even though I might think I'm pile 3 sometimes, because Xoxo never knows what pile numbers she's talking about. But I really think what you need to know here is that you're going to be just fine, and that I think that if you continue to ignore the divine impulse to create or express or to follow what feels right, it's just going to get more powerful and harder to ignore. So I think the divine is really encouraging you to trust your impulses, trust what feels right, trust what inspires you, because that is what will lead you to the best results and lead you to feeling inspired and positive about the future. You're a star, baby. Get over it. So let's go ahead and finish this reading off with some advice for you guys. And we are actually starting with the Wild Muse Oracle. Bow Life at Vanessa Soumayina's company was so kind and sent me her Oracle deck. So if you would like to check it out and get it 10% off using code ASO10, that will be linked down below. But let's go ahead and start your advice. So we have on fire, which I think is really cool because we were talking about Prometheus and fire. But I also think that this is, I don't know how I was going to finish that, but I'm just going to explain. You're being asked to trust your divine fire and to trust what lights you on fire, because it's precisely what lights you on fire that you could also compare to divine inspiration, if that makes sense. But you're also being encouraged not to waste your fire on things that aren't worth it. So for example, petty arguments, you know, frustrating things that aren't going to get you anywhere. I feel like you're really being encouraged to cultivate and protect your sacred creative fires and not waste them on things that that do not like match the vibration you're at. So like I said before, like petty squabbles or something like that, I would really encourage you, you know, when something annoys you or pisses you off and you might want to say something because you feel like, you know what, like I'm healing my throat chakra, I'm going to speak my truth. Like you might want to remember, is this worth my time and energy? Is this worth what? And if it is, go right ahead. But like, you know, I think you're being asked to pay attention to how you spend your energy, because remember, with fire, you know, it can only last for so long. It will eventually burn out. So you want to make sure that you channel that energy into the right places. But we also have codes of the seeds. The blueprint is within you. Take the next step. So this is perfect. Like, you came to this planet to do whatever it is that we've been talking about, this divine inspiration. It's like, you might feel like it's the divine bringing it to you out of nowhere, but what it really is you reaching alignment at the point in your life to where you're ready to receive the information that you were always going to receive. You just had to be like ready for it. You know what I mean? It's almost like the divine throwing a football and like you're running to catch it, but like it's a special football designed specially to like land in your arms whenever you reach like the perfect point. I don't know, it's not a great example, but the point I'm trying to make is that you may feel like you're not equipped to follow this journey, or that you're not equipped to follow the guidance that you're feeling inside, but you were literally born for this. You were born to do this. And, you know, all you need to do is trust yourself. And when you really, really feel lost, when you're really unsure, quiet your mind and go within and allow your body especially to guide you, to ask your body, like, what's the next step? See what you feel, like what phenomena you feel, like what images might come to your head, what ideas come in. I just feel like one thing you need to know is that this inspiration isn't outside of you, it's within you, and it's about listening to it and giving yourself the room and freedom to do that. Let's see what else we have. We have the wasp spirit. Sometimes life stings. So yeah, I mean, like, wasps are assholes. Like, we know this. We've been new. They're not like honeybees. They're not good vibes. Like, they're bad vibes. And like, sometimes people will sting you. People will hurt you. Just like wasps. Because I guess even within the bug kingdom, there must be dicks. So in this case, I feel like the universe is saying, like, you're always going to have people that are going to tell you that you can't do something. You're always going to have people that speak down to you. You're always going to have people that don't believe in you. You're always going to have people that want to throw rocks at you, that don't want to see you succeed. But that's not who you need to focus on. You need to focus on the people that encourage you, that love you, and focus on yourself and focus on what you know to be true, which is your wonderful qualities, your ability to succeed, your brilliant, amazing ideas that are meant to come to fruition. You know, if I let haters stop me, like, that would be so lame. You know what I mean? Like, every single person in the world has haters. Like, don't let it bother you, man. Feel bad for them. Just keep going. Don't. I mean, it might hurt. That's okay. Like, sometimes I read shit and it hurts my feelings. But you know what? Okay. I move forward. I move on. I address anything that I need to address within myself. Why did that bother me? Okay, I'll move forward now. Thank you, random stranger, for helping me illuminate more about myself. Don't even look at it as people being against you. Look at it as opportunities to recognize where there may be triggers still lying within you that you could look at. But also, the more you know yourself, the easier it is to recognize when people are projecting their own shadows onto you. And it's very funny when you're aware of it. And you just can't take it seriously because you see the literal effects of, like, oh, like, you're just putting your shadow on me. Like, that's okay. Let's see. We also have first corner moon in Scorpio. Release your blocks. So yeah, I think this is sacral energy. So I think you're really being encouraged to do things that stimulate your throat chakra and your sacral chakra, which makes sense because your sacral chakra is all about creativity, It's a water. The sacral chakra is associated with water. So throat and sacral chakras, if you could listen to sound healing and balance them, you could Google ways to do that so that you don't have to sit here and listen to me list off ideas. You could do anything. But I think the biggest block that you need to release is one around believing that you're worthy of putting yourself out there and sharing your ideas, because you are. And finally, we have surrender, defensiveness. Defensiveness is a sign of weakness. To communicate in a more empowered way, stay centered and hear someone out, then offer a clear, non-defensive response. Or I'm gonna argue, I'm not being defensive towards this card, but I am gonna argue this card that you don't even have to pay anyone the time of day or attention that doesn't respect you or treat you right. But I'll leave that up to you to decide. And I think that's where I'm gonna leave this reading. So pile 1, not 3. Thank you guys so much for watching and for watching my ads. That's the simplest and easiest way to support me. But if you would like to support me and my channel in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already, and click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can check out my merch, which is linked below. You can also check out my social media, though do be aware I have tons of scammers pretending to be me, so just know that I will not offer you a personal reading. I do not offer personal readings, and my Instagram does have general readings on it, but I do not offer personal readings, and I won't slide in your DMs. Okay, all of my official accounts are linked from my YouTube channel, so go for my YouTube channel. But that's all I have, so thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that this reading helped and that you enjoyed it. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 2. If you guys chose this cute little serpentine turtle and this stack of oracle cards, this is going to be your pep talk from me and the universe. So you guys actually got 2 of these cards. So we're going to go ahead and use these cards to look at the present energies and see what this pep talk is really going to be about. So if that resonates, then you found your right pile. If it doesn't, I would try a different one. But to start, we have the sun. We have Pratyahara and Lalita Tripura Sundari, which I know, I'm sorry, my pronunciation is not amazing. I will say I am a Midwestern American, so things might sound like this, even though that sounds a little more Southern. At least I'm not sitting here being like Lalita Tripura Sundari. That's pretty bad, isn't it? I hope you don't think I'm just making fun of myself. I'm not making fun of anything else, but yeah, okay, anyway, let's get into the reading. So to start with the sun being here and then having these 2 cards, this is actually really powerful. And I think that you either are about to or you already have entered a very powerful stage in your journey of self-discovery and self-actualization, where I think that you are redefining what it means to be yourself in society, unfortunately, because we do live in a society. And I think that you're recognizing a lot of things, I don't even want to say things, I would say behaviors and attitudes that you've had around yourself and around the expectations that you think that you should adhere to, or what you believe you should be, or what you believe you must be in order to be accepted. I think you're realizing that those things, those shoulds, are meaningless. And from what I can see here, if you've been feeling called to let go of certain habits, behaviors, or if you already have been starting to make changes towards living a life that's more aligned with who you are now, I would say this is a good sign you found your pile, because what I really see here is the universe encouraging you to not only to continue changing, but to embrace the changes that you're going through. I think the hardest thing about these changes for you is the fact that even though it feels good to embrace these new parts of you, to explore these new sides of you and integrate them. I think it's a very uncomfortable experience maybe for your ego or for your past self. Like you might feel a little bit of fear or guilt or shame around embodying the person that feels like you. I think that you may be holding yourself to past definitions of who you thought you were supposed to be, or past definitions of what the people around you wanted you to be. And I think you're realizing that you may have even unconsciously taken on beliefs and behavior patterns that nobody instilled within you, but that you're becoming aware are just a result of living in the environment that you grew up in, if that makes sense. So I think what you're realizing now is just how you may have been kind of betraying yourself in the sense of following what you should do and what seems right by society's eyes, rather than following what feels right to you and what makes you feel free and what makes you feel happy. And there's an extra emphasis actually on your sexuality, or just I'm not saying like sexual orientation, I'm saying sexuality in general, where maybe you have felt really uncomfortable with your sexual side, or maybe you felt like shame around it, or felt shame for having certain sexual feelings or sexual desires. And I think one thing that the divine is trying to get you to understand is that as long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else non-consensually, you know, there's no reason why you should have to suppress your desires. I did want to read really quickly her card, because Lalita, full name, is a deity, and I felt like it was important you guys hear this. So she is the goddess of erotic spirituality, and it says, move toward what makes you feel sensual, awake, and alive. In our society, we've been taught to repress our divine feminine nature in order to be taken seriously. However, by doing so, we are only operating as half of a whole. Lolita has come to remind you of your inner Tantrika energy, which oozes with erotic Shakti life force. It's time to merge your spiritual self with your sexual self, as the two are intrinsically related. Enjoy all things with sensuality: food, conversation, self-care, movement. Follow what feels good, not what, quote, makes sense to a patriarchal system. Bring in all aspects of yourself to the table and watch your life blossom. I think this is such a beautiful energy. And it's actually really interesting to be coupled with this Pratyahara card, because this is a stage of yoga, and it talks about releasing attachments to things that we think we need, or releasing attachments to things that don't serve us, like food, coffee, social media, things like that. And so I think what you're doing right now is learning this delicate balance of allowing yourself to explore your sensual side, to explore the things that feel good and that excite you and that feel aligned with you, and then but also balancing that with, but what is an indulgence and what is maybe unnecessary, and what do I indulge in, or what am I attached to that maybe doesn't feel very good anymore, or doesn't feed into my divine femininity. And when I say divine femininity, it doesn't matter what your sex or your gender is. Everybody has feminine and masculine energy within them. Same way every person has estrogen and testosterone in them. Crazy, right? So yeah, we have both feminine and masculine energy within us. And obviously how much of that differs with every person, but I can definitely see, no matter what, I think you are starting to let go of toxic masculine perceptions around things that you should be doing or ways that you should be behaving, and are starting to kind of embrace the perspective of the divine feminine more, which, you know, the divine feminine is kind of talked about in this card, but obviously it is far more dense and there's a lot more to it. But, you know, obviously the goal is we all want to balance our energies and live in a divine way. And I think what you're doing right now is maybe letting go of, and I wouldn't just say toxic masculine, I would say toxic feminine and masculine concepts and ideas that maybe our society upholds, that you're realizing isn't really conducive to your growth and doesn't reflect who you are. And so I think you're realizing that change is weird, and bittersweet. And it's kind of like this and that are true, in the sense that it can be weird to let go of things, and it can be weird to allow ourselves to enjoy things and to allow ourselves to indulge in things. I think it's really easy to think that we should suffer, or that we should work harder for things, or that we don't deserve things. And I think the divine is really letting you know right now that a lot of the lessons that you're learning have to do with how you perceive yourself and how you express yourself, how you allow yourself to enjoy life moving forward, and also how you utilize the world around you in order to balance your internal world. Because I think what's going on right now is that you're being encouraged to explore your sensual side, explore your sexual side safely, and if you're of age. I shouldn't say if you're... If you're going to explore your sexual side with another person, be of age. Anyway, when it comes to exploring life and exploring your desires and exploring what works and what doesn't, I think you're realizing how there may be certain things in your life that you already enjoy where you don't necessarily have to get rid of them, maybe just tone them down, or balance how much you're doing a certain thing with another thing. It's almost like the universe is really encouraging you to continue making the changes that feel right to you, even if society would look at you and think that that is wrong, or judge you, or things like that. And Spirit kind of wants me to use myself as an example, so I will do that. A perfect example for me in terms of doing things based on how I think I should. Oh, I can't stop burping. Yeah, I should maybe like edit out my burps, but I'm not gonna. Anyway, the point of what I was trying to say is, when I started, you know, reading tarot and things like that, and doing this, obviously I really loved it. I still love it. I still enjoy it. But I definitely had a hard time taking breaks, or, taking time for myself, because one, not only did it feel good to work and it felt good to make content, it felt good to put it out there, I also felt like a responsibility, like I need to do this. And if I don't, then I don't want people to be mad at me, or I don't want this, or I don't want that. And then I realized, through time, that rest is actually very necessary and important for me to do this, so that I can always show up and be my best self. And that there's nothing wrong with taking time to rest, and that it's not healthy or normal to constantly be pushing yourself towards one extreme, if I'm being honest. I think that there is a balancing of extremes here going on, where you may be recognizing where certain aspects of your routine or certain behavior patterns are leading you to an extreme. And I think that you're integrating ways to kind of balance those out. And I think Spirit is encouraging you to continue doing that. But there's a lot of encouragement around exploring what excites you without feeling like you have to be ashamed for that, especially if you grew up in an environment where purity culture or something like that was the norm. There's a lot of deprogramming involved when it comes to recognizing that certain things that maybe we were taught were shameful or bad or wrong are in fact not that at all. It's just that we were brought up with a certain perspective, and now that perspective is being challenged, and that can be uncomfortable, and it's going to be your conditioning's natural response to respond in the way in which you were taught to respond to it. And so for you, when you're exploring certain things, whether it be new cuisines or fun sexy time stuff, like recognizing that you're allowed to explore these things, and that just because someone else has a different perception of them doesn't make that the reality. And in fact, the divine is actively encouraging you to follow what feels good. And what they especially mean by that is not just, throwing all your cares to the wind and, just going crazy, because accomplishing things and being productive can also feel good as well. And so I think you're being encouraged to find the difference between satisfying a craving or enjoying your sensual side versus using a substance to escape, or only allowing yourself pleasurable things as a reward system. I think that's a big thing as well, because I think one thing that the divine is trying to teach you is that you do not have to deprive yourself, or you do not have to suffer in order to deserve something, in order to deserve a treat, or in order to deserve a break. You can literally treat yourself just because you're a human existing. And I think that there's maybe guilt around treating yourself or being kind to yourself or taking time for self-care when you're not like completely burnt out, or when you don't necessarily need it. But I think what the divine is trying to get you to realize is that the more regular maintenance that you do, the less likely it will be that you'll fall into a pit of, you know, just complete burnout and exhaustion, or get stuck in this cycle of, okay, I'll treat myself next week, or I'll treat myself the week after that once I've got this done. Learning how to find moments for yourself to do things that feel good, even when you have a difficult week, or even when you've got a lot going on. I think the divine is trying to get you to realize that you are not less than others, in the sense that you do not need to work for love. You don't need to work to feel good, in the sense that, like, if you can go get yourself a coffee and that'll make you feel good, you don't need to find a reason to make yourself deserving of that. You're inherently deserving of that. You're inherently deserving of feeling good because you're a fucking human. Like, it's that simple. Like, it doesn't matter, you know, what you've done or what you haven't done or anything. It doesn't matter who you want. It doesn't fucking matter. The fact that you're a human on this earth with a beating heart means that you deserve to feel good, and you deserve to do things and take action towards what will do that for you. And obviously, you know, that comes in hand with making sure that you're not, you know, harming yourself in the process of doing what's feeling good. But I think what you're realizing is you're finding that balance of, okay, what feels good isn't necessarily what feels good in the moment. It could be what feels good in the long run. But also, when I have these long run things that are going to take me a while to accomplish, what can I do that makes me feel good in the moment while I stick this project out or stick this shift out? You know what I mean? It's like recognizing that you do have challenging things, and that there will be struggles, and that there will be hardships, but how can you treat yourself during those times and stay accountable, but also, you know, allow yourself to explore this person you're becoming without guilt and without shame. Because I think as well, what you're going to find is that the more you continue to do what feels good to you, the more you honor yourself, which I just must say that this is beautiful energy, and I'm so happy that you're already doing this, and I'm so happy that you're already like on this path. I think what you'll realize is that you'll become much more aware of what genuinely feels good, and what just temporarily eases discomfort. Because there's a difference between something feeling good genuinely and then something temporarily distracting you from your pain. That's kind of the difference. And the things that truly feel good will feel good all the way to the tips of your toes, to the deepest part of your soul. And the things that just feel good or distract you from your pain, you know, well, those sensations will end just about as soon as they start, you know what I mean? But yeah, that kind of seems like, if that's what you're dealing with, let's go ahead and get a pep talk from the universe about it. So I'm going to use the Crystal Power Tarot. I really like this deck because it has affirmations on it, and I think that they just have really good affirmations. And so if any of the affirmations really speak to you, or any of the crystals on the cards speak to you, feel free to check those out or screenshot the affirmations, because nothing bad can happen from you saying kind things to yourself. That's all I can say. Okay, so let's get some advice, pile 2. Okay, or not advice, we'll get advice later. We need to see first. Spirit, what pep talk do you want to give pile 2? What words of encouragement do you have for them right now? Okay. Okay, so we have Judgment in reverse. And look, this is so interesting. Actually, no, I'm going to leave it upright. It says, I look back with compassion for myself. I think that is so important. We also have the Two of Pentacles. I calmly make the best possible decision. What else, Spirit? I take care of the detail and stay in control. We have the Six of Pentacles. I give and receive for the universal good. Let's see, one more, Spirit. We have the Five of Swords. I will heal myself. And on the back of the deck, we have the Chariot. I go forward with confidence. I love this being on the back of the deck. The stone being recommended is carnelian for that. So, and it does really match this like red vibe that we have going on down here, which is really cool, because I think what's really happening here is that you're finally starting to integrate the spiritual wisdom and knowledge that you've been accumulating, and now you're going to be able to practically apply it to your 3D surroundings, which is really cool, because that's when you really start moving forward, and that's when you really start making strides and a lot of progress in your 3D reality, because you're finally integrating what you're learning from the universe and you can see the results. But I love this. This is actually really wonderful. With the Judgment card being here, I look back with compassion for myself. One of the biggest things that I think is holding you back right now that the universe wants you to be aware of is you're still beating yourself up for maybe past mistakes or past ways of being, or even when it comes to making changes, you may be beating yourself up for not making those changes sooner. Like, if you're already making these changes and feeling really good, you might be thinking like, man, why didn't I do this sooner? Like, I'm such an idiot or something like that. Don't call yourself an idiot, by the way. You're not an idiot. The universe is really saying, you know, to look back with compassion. You were doing the best you could with the knowledge you had, and you couldn't know that it would improve your life until you actually made those changes. And so I think with the Judgment card being here, it might be really easy to judge yourself or judge others or judge, you know, I think it's important to look at yourself. I think this is kind of what the universe is saying, to look at yourself and your past self with compassion, and to look at those past situations with compassion too, in the sense of like, you know, the people around you are likely doing the best they could as well, and that you don't have to hold on too tightly to things that were never personal in the first place. But with the Two of Pentacles here, I calmly make the best possible decision. I do think that one thing your guides are really encouraging you to do is to... There's a message here with impulsivity, where instead of like trying to decide the best decision to make, you may at times, which I have ADHD, so I do this as well, you may just impulsively make a decision because you just don't want to deal with the brain energy of like trying to make a decision, or you just like want to end a sensation or something happening, and so then you make a decision that maybe isn't the best in the long run, like I said, temporarily blocking you from pain rather than doing something that actually solves it. But I think what the universe is saying here is that no matter what choices you make, you shouldn't beat yourself up for them, because with every choice you make, you're always learning. So whether you make the decision that is going to be easier in the short term but doesn't help you in the long run, you'll learn from making that decision. And if you make the decision that helps you in the long run but is uncomfortable in the short term, you'll learn from that too. And I think what the universe is trying to get you to understand is that you can't look at your decisions as right and wrong. You just made decisions and they had outcomes, you know? That's a... Spirit's going into a whole other direction about right and wrong and morality, and I really don't have the time or energy to talk about that right now, and I really don't want to... We're not going into that, Spirit. But the point of what they're trying to say is that you judge yourself very harshly. And I think that you're pretty non-judgmental when it comes to other people. Or if you are, I don't think you're consciously aware of how you judge people, because I don't think you're consciously aware of how hardly you judge yourself. And I think you judge yourself so harshly that you don't allow yourself to have fun. And that's really, it's just really unfair to you. And it really holds you back from being able to explore what's going to make you genuinely happy. So I think one of the biggest things that the universe and your guides are encouraging you about is to not let your ego dissuade you from things that your heart's trying to talk you into. Because I promise you, you're not going to care about what your ego thinks when you're truly enjoying yourself and like living your truth. Like, I will tell you, when I first found tarot, I literally thought to myself, and I knew it was right for me because I thought, I love this so much, I literally don't care if anyone around me judges me for it or doesn't like me for it. They don't need to be in my life then, because I really like this and this is what I need to explore. When you feel that passionately about something, it really will not fucking matter, or you'll get over it because you'll have something far more meaningful to be attached to or to be invested in. And so with the Page of Swords here, I take care of the detail and stay in control. I think one thing the universe is trying to get you to understand is that part of the reason why you may feel held back by life right now is because you're holding on to control. And I think it's really interesting here to have, you know, the Chariot, because obviously the dude in the Chariot's not making it go forward. It's the two horses, and he has to have trust in the two horses that they will pull him. And, you know, that's the same with horseback riding in general, you know. You might think you're in control, but, which I mean, horses are awesome and usually really, really well trained. But you know what? If they see something they're afraid of, if they don't want to cross a river or cross a stream, or if they don't want to do something, they're like big ass giant dogs. Like they hold a lot of power. Like, I think what you're not realizing is that you're almost kind of literally like holding the universe back. Like, I'm seeing it like if I were on a horse, like, you know, some people when they first start riding horses, they might pull back on the reins a lot just out of fear, you know, and like, I see that with you, like pulling back on the reins, not realizing that you can trust this horse and that it's going to take you exactly where you need to go on this divine mission. And it's like, well, I don't know. I feel like I still need to read about horseback riding first. I still need to make sure I get the right saddle. And the universe is like, get on that damn horse. We don't care if it's bareback. Let's fucking go. Like, we've got stuff to do. Come on, pile two. No more holding back. Because I think that's the thing, is that the universe wants to give you so much. And I think that I think you feel guilt and shame when it comes to receiving. I think you have no problem giving to others and being generous, but I think you genuinely have a hard time receiving things and believing that you're worthy of it. And that is what makes this so challenging, is it's really hard to let go of control when you are not even willing to see where the universe wants to take you and then be open to receiving what it brings you. You know, if you don't think you're worthy of it, you're not going to allow yourself to have it. And so I think what you need to understand is that it is out of balance for you to just be generous and give to others. And it is out of balance for you to hold yourself back and not live your truth. So I think what you need to understand right now is that the universe is asking you to let go of control and go forward with confidence, knowing that the universe is carrying you, and knowing that if you try to strive for this balance and keep your main priority, you know, doing the things you got to do, obviously are priorities, but then also, you know, making sure you're taking care of yourself, your vessel, making sure that you're taking time out of your day to honor your own happiness and do something for yourself that feels good, even if you're having a hard day, especially if you're having a hard day, or even if you're having a great day, you know, taking the long route home so you can smell the flowers while you walk, whatever the hell it is, whatever makes you happy, you deserve to have more of that in your life. And you don't have to make everything so regimented, and you don't have to do things in order to earn kindness. You shouldn't have to earn kindness. Like, you don't need to earn kindness from others. You don't need to earn respect from others. And anyone who treats you poorly, that is just a sign of someone who is not worthy of the kindness and respect that you give. You know what I mean? So with this Five of Swords here, you know, I think that while you may have healed a lot when it comes to the things that, you know, people have said to you or done to you, I think what you're not realizing is that you're still unconsciously carrying beliefs of unworthiness, or beliefs that you will fail, or beliefs that the universe doesn't really have your back and that it will rip everything from you just when you think everything's fine. And I think what you're not realizing is that the universe will carry you, even when the universe takes things away from you, which, trust me, the universe will only take things away from you if they're not meant for you. So if they're meant for you, the universe ain't doing shit. I promise you that. But what you need to understand is that you're more than ready to move forward. And I think that you're ready to move forward, but you feel stagnant, and the universe is saying it's because you can't let go of the past. You can't drive a damn chariot if you're looking backwards the whole time. You're gonna crash, and you're gonna crash hard, and it's not gonna be fun. So the universe is stalling your chariot until you're ready to look forward and go forward with confidence. Because right now, I don't think you're very confident in your ability to succeed, or in your ability, or not ability, or in your worthiness of following a path that feels true to you. I need you to know that. You understand. Like, seriously, I know you're not looking at me, like, not looking in my eyes, and, like, I'm not gonna do some, like, creepy, like, put my head under the table thing, because, like, I'm not wearing makeup, and that would just be weird. But and it's not because I'm not wearing makeup, and I think that I look ugly without makeup, because I am beautiful, no matter what. I just don't want to have to look at myself, and I don't want to be weird. Anyway. But I need you to, like, actually understand, like, you are so worthy of living the life that feels true to you. It is such a waste of your life to not be living it in a way that is authentically aligned and true to you, especially when you're fully aware that you're headed in that direction anyway, and know deep down that's something that you want. It's only your ego making you think that you're undeserving of it, and that's not true. And so it's at those times when it's really helpful to discern what is my ego and what is my ego saying and what is my heart saying, because the ego is false light. It will always lead you to a whole lot of nothing. It's kind of like pyrite in the sense of, like, it's shiny, it's gold, it's glitter, it's glittery, but it's not really worth much, you know? It's called fool's gold for a reason. Preminger stole it off of Princess Annalise's desk for a reason. It's because he was a dummy. Anyway, and he was also a fool and a thief, and that's a thief for karma. Okay, I'm gonna grab my ego cards really quickly. I don't have them out because I do have advice for you guys, but I feel like the ego, oh my god, no, I'm a liar. They were sitting right here. They were literally sitting on my desk, and I didn't realize it. I totally thought that I put them away, which jokes on me. When do I put things away? But these ego cards are actually really helpful. And I would actually highly recommend you get this deck. It's probably not going to be in the description because I'm just using it for you guys, but it's called the Self-Forgiveness Oracle Deck, Love Your Ego Edition. I got it off of Etsy, and I think it could be really illuminating for you just in terms of recognizing, like, what is not a true response from you and what is just your ego. And I think also it can be hard to work with our egos at times because, like, we don't want to admit that, like, we're coming from an egoic place. But, you know, ego can be slippery and tricky. So, you know, checking ourselves, it's a good thing. And it's very freeing as well, because then you realize what kind of mental prisons the ego tries to keep you in. But Spirit, what ego responses does pile 2 need to forgive themselves for? Yep. I forgive myself for taking myself more seriously than is helpful to me. I choose to believe that when I allow myself to lighten up, my entire being becomes illuminated with the intuitive wisdom that aligns me with my highest potential. Yep, I mean, like, are you kidding me? This is, like, literally, this is exactly what, this is your reading in one card. And, you know, the genius is an ego response in the sense of, you know, I can't feel in control unless I know everything that's going on and I know what's going to happen and things like that. And so with this is that real Page of Swords energy to me, where you might be taking yourself a bit too seriously. I'm taking care of the detail and staying in control, when realizing that letting go of control and almost allowing yourself to just let go of, you know, needing to know what's going to happen could actually be very freeing. I think that's kind of the trap that tarot can get us into as well, because getting all this wisdom and this knowledge can be so illuminating, but then at the same time, you know, it can make us want to constantly know what's going to happen next, and instead of just live and be present. And I think one thing that you need to know is that you're safe to just let go and not know, and just explore. And think about it this way, you're clearly very smart. So instead of looking at these changes as permanent changes that are who you are now, just look at them as experiments that you're running. Hypothesize how you think changing your routine. So let's say, for example, you don't get enough sleep. And that's one thing that you're really struggling with, and it causes you to, drink way too much caffeine and take naps at random parts of the day, things like that. So in that say, okay, well, I hypothesize that if I go to bed earlier this week and I only drink this much coffee before this time, and just see what happens, then you can start literally running experiments on yourself to see what works. And then you don't have the ego response of, oh, well, what if I make these changes and they don't help? You're just looking to see if something is different. Then there's no being wrong. Then there's no feeling like a failure. It's just, I'm gonna explore and see how this works. So let's see. We also have, I forgive myself for feeling as though it is not safe for me to step out of line and be seen. I choose to believe that when I step out of what is familiar, I am able to playfully explore the different dimensions of my being so that I may discover a more authentic version of myself. I mean, yeah, I think those are pretty spot on, and I think this last one is one you need as well. I forgive myself for mistaking achievement for a measurement of my worth. What was I saying earlier about you don't need to deserve things. You can just receive them. Think about people that blindly receive things all the time that are not gracious for them or anything, or actively mooch off of people. There are plenty of people that shamelessly receive all the time. You deserve to receive as well. I choose to believe that although I may find myself drawn towards achievement, my worth is not in any way defined by the extent to which I am capable of attaining my goals. Yes, yes, yes. These three, screenshot them, hold on to them, remind yourself of them, because they're very important. And this is the universe literally saying, you have everything you need to achieve, or you need to succeed. Not everything you need to achieve. That's your ego. You have everything you need to succeed. And even though success is a subjective definition, I think what you need to understand is that the divine is cheering for you and rooting for you. They're not saying, oh, we're not going to cheer on pile 2 because they got a C on that one test 2 years ago. That's just so pathetic. So we're just not going to cheer them on, and we're gonna exclusively not cheer on pile 2 at all. And then we're gonna cheer on the other 8 billion people, even though some of those 8 billion people have done way worse things. It's irrational to think that the universe doesn't want you to succeed, to think that the universe wants you to suffer. It's not true. And you don't need to do anything to prove your worth to the universe. The universe already knows that you're worthy. You just need to recognize it to yourself that you are worthy. The universe knows. The universe is honey, we've been new. We love you. We adore you. We created you. You are us. We are you. We love you. We just want you to figure that out for yourself so that we can really co-create together and you can actually enjoy your life. So let's go ahead and finish this reading off with advice. I feel like I talked to your pile for so long. And I did quickly want to mention Bow Life, Vanessa Soumayina's company, was so kind and sent me her new oracle deck, the Wild Muse Oracle. This is the guidebook, which is super nice, by the way. So if you want to get this 10% off, there will be a link down below. Use code ASO10 on Bow Life's website to get anything 10% off, and you help me. So if you do that, thank you. And thank you, Bow Life, for sending me this deck. I really like it so far. But let's go ahead and look at what final advice the universe wants to give you. So we have your tribe and your vibe, which I think is beautiful, because I think, first of all, I think that this is saying, look at the people in your life right now. Who are the ones that are supporting you through these changes? Who are the ones that make you feel uplifted and loved? Those are the ones you want to keep. But also, if you've been manifesting, soul tribe, or manifesting friends, or manifesting people to be in your life, I think this is a good sign that you are attracting them. And actually, with this number 31 here, it makes me think of the Empress and the Magician. And I think the universe is really saying the more you invest in yourself, the more you invest in this feel-good energy and following what lights you up and what makes you feel passionate and what makes you feel good, you're naturally going to attract these people and bring them into your life. And you can do that through exploring new classes or sharing what you're learning out there and other people seeing it. There's so many ways that you can meet your soul family. I've met so much of my soul family through tarot, it's not even funny. So that when you're doing the things that you're truly passionate about, you will meet some of the most wonderful people. I would not be friends with Kino if I hadn't done this. And like, I love that girl so much. Oh my God. Like, and there's so many people that like I just absolutely adore and have wonderful friendships with that I wouldn't have never met because we're all in different corners of the world. But you find them, and you will find them. Just know, like, the more you follow the callings of your soul, the more you follow what feels right to you, the easier it will be to attract them, and the more naturally you will find them. I literally moved and found a bestie that lives in the same building as me. Like, how? I don't know. I just followed what felt right. I followed my heart. You don't need to. This is the thing. You don't need to know. Like, the more you just do and be and go with the flow, the more you'll realize the universe does have your back. But the universe can't prove that to you if you refuse to take action and stay in stagnation. If you, like, the universe can at times find ways to help move you forward, but what you really need to understand is that you're just fine. And it's all fear. It's all fear, and this belief that you're not worthy of receiving blessings and that you won't make it. It's all holding you back. And all it is holding you back from the blessings that are yours. Don't block your blessings. Don't block the things the universe wants to give to you. You are worthy of receiving, and you are worthy of a beautiful life. We also have the Thorn, protection, boundaries, and clear communication. So I definitely think moving forward, one thing you want to be aware of is, are you protecting yourself or are you shutting everyone out? Because it might be quite possible that you could be afraid of letting certain people in or letting people in at all, especially if they've hurt you. Or you could be on the opposite side of things where people take advantage of your kindness, or people kind of walk all over you, or, you know, express disapproval for the things that you enjoy. And those people, you do not need to give them the time of day. With clear communication, no is a complete sentence. I'm busy is a complete sentence. Thanks for your concern, but I can't, blah, 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 is a complete sentence. I think you're really being encouraged. The more feel-good energy that you have, especially if you're a people pleaser, you're going to want to give it away. And that is where Spirit's really encouraging you. When you have that feel-good energy and when your cup is full, cherish that and memorize what that feels like. And really, like, really make a mental note of it, because it's easy to forget when our cup is empty that it's empty, and we can overextend ourselves and then run into things like compassion fatigue. And it can be really easy to forget what it feels like to feel good when you get used to feeling bad. So I think the universe is saying it is okay to set boundaries with people. It is okay to let go of people that aren't, especially if those people have been in your life for a long time and they are hating on the changes that you're making. Do not allow history to change your present, and do not put up with that, because, like, here's the thing, okay? It doesn't matter if you have years and years and years of history with someone. If they're unwilling to support the person that you're becoming, then they have no reason to be in your future. If they're unwilling to change. I mean, obviously, like, there is a very, like, black and white, cut and dry things where people will be like, just cut them out of your life. And obviously things like that aren't that simple. But one thing you want to be aware of is, just because we have history, like, do I see a positive future? You know, and, like, especially with friendships that can kind of get in, like, certain ruts or certain patterns, you know, you really want to ask yourself, you know, do you really want to let other people shit on the beautiful light that you're becoming and recognizing within yourself? Like, people throw rocks at things that shine. So I think the universe is just wanting you to be really aware that you are not only allowed to set boundaries, but you're being encouraged to set boundaries with people who don't support your growth, because the right people will want you to grow and to become the best version of yourself. We also have the wolf spirit, turn knowledge into wisdom. Didn't I say that? I said that, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, you already know what to do. It's mainly just about trusting yourself and going with the flow and being okay with not knowing, because that's when you really get to apply wisdom and get to really see the truth of things. But I would say any wolves or wolf imagery that you see could be a sign that you're on the right path. We also, what the fuck did I say? Know your worth. A lot of what you're learning right now has to do with worthiness and realizing that you are worthy of receiving, that you're worthy of the blessings the universe wants to give you. And I think one thing that you need to know is that you're fantastic, pile 2. Like, okay, listen, don't tell the other piles, but this is my favorite turtle. He was my first turtle. His name is Tony the turtle. He just like makes me really happy, and he's just such a superstar. So like it made me really happy that you guys picked Tony's pile, and clearly Tony had a special message for you. You guys are clearly very special, and I just hope this pep talk helps. But on the bottom, on the last advice card we have that wasn't on the bottom of the deck but just was the bottom of the stack, says surrender to your intuition, tune into your inner voice, be aware of any gut feelings, flashes, knowings, or aha moments that come through to guide you. Yeah, so honor those. And I love this because this is so different from the very first card we had, which was sun. The sun is masculine energy, it's ego, it's light, and you know, intuition, intuitive stuff. It's like the moon, it's dark, it's feminine. And so I think the universe is saying, you know, trust your intuition, trust these inner nudges, trust what you feel inside, because it will lead you to your truth. And not only that, it will help lead you to the truth of what was never meant for you in the first place, and lead you to the truth of the fact that honoring your ego and living to serve your ego will only serve to make you miserable. So pile 2, I think that is where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching and for letting my ads play in the background while watching, or just watching them, or just letting them play in the background. That is the simplest and easiest way to support me. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video, you can comment down below, let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already and click that little notification bell to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. I also am much more likely to respond to comments when I first upload my videos, so if you're part of my notification squad, let me know. I also have social media, though do beware, I don't offer personal readings, and there are lots of scammers pretending to be me that are offering personal readings, so just know that's not me. And yeah, I have merch, which is also linked below. But that's all I have, so thank you guys so much for watching and for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night, whatever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 3. If you guys chose the flower agate turtle and this stack of oracle cards, this is going to be your pep talk from the universe. So you guys actually got 2 of these oracle cards, but I'm going to look at these 3 oracle cards to get an idea of what this pep talk is going to be about and kind of what you're going through and experiencing right now. So if this resonates, congrats, you found the right pile. If it doesn't, I would try a different pile. And if none of the piles resonate, I would say, unfortunately, there is not a message for you in this reading, but I'm still cheering you on no matter what. Okay, and so is the universe. Anyway, to start with your pile, we have number 33 with Ash. We have Radha in reverse, and we have Lakshmi upright. So I want to just start off by noting that you got 2 goddesses, one upright and one in reverse. And you also got a master number 33 in your center card. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 33, those could be synchronicities, or you could pray to Lakshmi or Radha, or maybe you've been hearing those names or have had their presence or their energy around you. So that could be confirmation that you've been feeling them. Because they do have very beautiful messages for you. But I feel like I want to start with this Ash card, because I think the commonality for everyone in this pile is it seems like you've come through some sort of really big transformation. And this doesn't have to be an intentional transformation, or really something that you've consciously looked at as a transformation at all. It could just be you're at a point of serious reflection. I think that's what it is for everyone. Whether you've been through some big cycle of transformation that you completed consciously, or you've come through some sort of journey that you didn't realize would transform you, but you've come out the other side and now you're reflecting and thinking about how you've changed and how you've grown. I think no matter what, there's a lot of reflection and thinking about the past here. The ash literally represents like the past, ancestors. You know, ash is what's left after the fire has burned. And so I think now, like, I'm seeing vividly, if you've ever seen a series of unfortunate events, whether, or, well, obviously, hopefully you've read them, but if you've seen either like the Netflix series or the movie, like, I'm just seeing like the Baudelaire children like looking through their like the ashes of their mansion and like finding things and things like that. And I feel like a lot of your old life, and not just like, and by old life, I'm not just talking about your external reality, I'm also talking about the old you that participated in that reality. So like the old versions of you as well. I think you're reflecting just how much has changed, how much you've grown, how much you've lost, but I don't think you're not looking at it as losing. It's just what is not here anymore, what is here. For some, there could be feelings of loss here, but I think actually what's really interesting is that it does seem like your life has been heading towards a positive trajectory, and it seems like life has been getting better for you for quite a while, and that might be really weird for you and hard to trust, because it's quite possible that you're used to having the rug ripped out from underneath you, or feeling like the universe doesn't support you, or feeling like there's going to be a roadblock right up ahead, or that you don't deserve blessings, that you don't deserve love. And I feel like with this Lakshmi card here, you know, Lakshmi is the goddess of a lot of things, but mainly abundance, fertility, beauty, good fortune, things like that. And I think that you have definitely been blessed by the universe, either because of what you're doing or through your own hard work. I mean, I think no matter what, there's hard work here, but I also think the universe has just been blessing you in lots of different ways. Like maybe you got your dream house recently, or your dream job, or maybe you are feeling very confident in your own skin now, or like you've found a wellness routine that makes you feel really good on the inside and it shows on the outside. Like, I just feel like you've been glowing up in a lot of different areas of your life, and it's not something, oh, sorry, I can't stop burping. Sometimes when I'm burping, it sounds like I'm about to cry, and that's not the case. I'm not crying. I'm just burping. But anyway, I do think that, first of all, there's a little bit of like shock of like, wow, like I can't believe this is the person I'm becoming. And I think there's a lot of like, I feel like in some ways you're feeling really humbled by the universe in terms of like your gratitude towards what it's given you, and the beautiful things it's given you, and the beautiful blessings. But I do think that there's fear around, what if I lose all of it? What if this all just gets taken away from me? What if you know, what if I think that you are continuously preparing for a tower moment that doesn't exist, but that you may fear will happen. And what I mean by tower moment, I'm referencing like the Tower card in tarot, and that card talks about divine intervention, sudden upheaval, changes in people, because of the imagery and because it can be negative. Sometimes, you know, sudden change can be very shocking and very upsetting, but sometimes sudden change can be good. But I think what you're not seeing is that I think you have this feeling like deep down, or this deep-seated fear that the universe doesn't really have your best interests at heart, or that you're living in one giant illusion, and that you're going to wake up one day and everything you love is just going to be taken from you. And that is a fear that I think the universe is letting you know, hey, we might want to address this, because I think there's some underlying feelings of unworthiness when it comes to the blessings that you've been given from the universe. It's imposter syndrome. That's what it is, isn't it? Because you're getting these blessings and you're like, do I really deserve them? What if the universe realizes? It's like Miss Columbia, like from Miss Universe, like when Steve Harvey said Miss Columbia won. Like, I think that you're worried that like the universe is Steve Harvey and like you're Miss Columbia, and you know, there's always gonna be a Miss Philippines that's, you know, gonna get the crown over you, or you're gonna get it taken away, or something like that. I feel like a freak thing like that, yeah, I feel like you're worried that's gonna happen every single day. And I think what you're realizing is that's not the case. And one thing that I'm hearing as well is that you are meant to experience the majority of your true hardships early in life, and that your blessings are meant to multiply as you grow and evolve. But here's what's really interesting. I think that you have really come a long way when it comes to your self-worth, when it comes to feeling more secure in yourself, when it comes to receiving your blessings and recognizing that you are worthy of good things and you are worthy of good fortune and financial abundance and financial freedom and things like that. And I think that you're definitely integrating those lessons and starting to feel more confident and seeing yourself as a person of value, not because of what you have, but because of the person that you are, and the fact that you're able to more concretely see the wonderful things about yourself without distorting them through your own self-hate lens. You know, I think that you're starting to look at yourself more objectively and recognize that while you are a flawed human, there are so many wonderful things about you, and there are so many reasons why the universe would want to bless you with these things. And the fact that you have received so many blessings, I think, is a sign, one, to continue doing what you're doing, keep going, but also the universe doesn't make mistakes like that. The universe doesn't bless you because you're tricking the universe into thinking it's giving its blessings to the wrong person. You're not. The universe knows exactly what it's doing, and it's way smarter than you. Like, no offense. It's way smarter than me. It's way smarter than you. And it knows you better than you know you, which might sound weird, but it's true. And they know what you want and what you need better than you do. So here's what's really interesting. Rod is in reverse, and she is the goddess of passionate love and longing. And with this ash being in the past here, I think it's quite possible that either you're in the presence of someone that you could have a true, authentic love connection with, and you're either running from it, afraid from it, not ready to see it, or you have a deep longing and desire for love, but are way too afraid to receive it, or are unsure how to receive it. Maybe you're unsure if you're worthy of receiving it. But the biggest thing that I'm seeing here is your perspective is so aligned in so many ways, it doesn't get distorted until it comes to your love life. Now, if you're aromantic or asexual, or, well, I guess aromantic and asexual are two very different things. Let's just say this. If you're not interested in love in any way, and you don't feel like you have any shadows or wounds or blocks around it, I don't know how much of this you're going to want to watch, but I do feel like for a lot of you, there is a deep desire for true, passionate love, like Rhodochrosite love. It was Krishna, right? That she... We'll look in a second, because I want you to see what's in the book about what the book says about this. Actually, I'll probably show you Alchemy as well, because I think that they do a much better job of explaining these two energies than I can just talking. But I do think that you may feel like there's this just this one part of your life that feels out of sorts or incomplete, and I think it's your love life. And I don't think it's because you don't have a partner. Maybe for some of you, you do have a partner, but worry that you're going to lose them, or worry that that it's just gonna slip right through your fingers, or that you're gonna mess it all up, or that you don't deserve it. Or maybe for others, you know, maybe you're finally feeling really good, and, you know, you feel like you're in a place of security, and you feel like you're ready to get back out there and maybe date, or you feel like, you know, you want to open your heart to someone, but you're afraid. And maybe that's because you haven't necessarily gotten over your past wounds when it comes to relationships. But this could also be that there's really no wounds in regards to relationships, but just your fear of experiencing something beautiful and then losing it. I think there's a lot of fear around accepting blessings that come outside of yourself, in the sense that, you know, once your manifestation involves another person, or once there's something outside of yourself, like, you know, a deep connection with another person, you're not in complete control anymore. And that's scary. You're not even in complete control of yourself, to be completely honest. But at the very least, you know yourself. You can listen to your own thoughts and you can communicate with yourself, and there's some stability there. But once you add another person, that shakes everything up, right? And so I think you might be feeling comfortable right now in the sense of, you know, you're doing well and you're receiving a lot of blessings and you're moving forward in life. But I think the one thing that you haven't really looked at or addressed is maybe your fear of falling in love, or your desire to fall in love, but at the same time your fear of it, because truths can coexist. You can desire and long for love just as badly as you run from it and fear it. And so I think the first thing that the universe wants to say is, so you think you're worthy of, you know, money, feeling good inside and out, abundance, good fortune. You recognize you're worthy of all that, but you don't think you're worthy of true, authentic love? Do you not think that all the blessings the divine has given you have not come from, one, the fact that you've put in work and given love to others, but two, also because the divine loves you so deeply and fiercely? Because it does. And I think there is a cognitive distortion within you where you may feel like, yeah, you know, the universe does bless me and I know I'm worthy of these blessings, but love just doesn't work out for me, or love just isn't that for me. And I think the universe is saying, first of all, if you've specifically prayed to Radha and haven't gotten a response from her, I do think it is quite possible she is trying to set you up or bring some blessing into your life, and you're not open to receiving it, whether you realize it or not. So for some, but that's a very specific message for those of you that would apply to. But also, I think that there is this fear of going outside of your comfort zone, and this fear of, like, I just heard, you know that GTA line that's like, oh shit, here we go again. Like, I think you're very afraid of falling in love, or if you are in love, of integrating that love into your life, or admitting that love to yourself, or admitting that love to another person, or to that person, because, you know, it's really scary. What if you get rejected? What if it doesn't work? But I really wanted to read to you what this card says, especially reversed, because I think it's actually really beautiful and very true. So, Radha, goddess of passionate love and longing. Are you afraid to love? There is deep vulnerability that comes with sacred union. When you've fallen in love, your entire heart exists in another body, out of your control. To experience this is to experience true enlightenment. Love is the most divine emotion one can experience, and to say no to love is to say no to yourself. Even the most broken heart can be mended again. Become complete within yourself while still holding space for that sacred lover who is awaiting your reunion in this lifetime. And I think I just really want to re-highlight, love is the most divine emotion one can experience, and to say no to love is to say no to yourself. Because love is like God. That's what God is, or at least how I view God. I don't view God as like a big man with a giant beard and sandals. Like, I picture God as something that it doesn't even have a form. It's something that runs in all of us and runs through everything, and is just so unconditionally loving that it will do anything to show its creatures and inhabitants the truth of itself. We are all one. Separation is an illusion. We are everything. Like, okay, the way I see God is very similar to the TV show The Great. In the second season, Catherine does shrooms with the Pope, and because I don't even know if he's the Pope. I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't understand. I can't remember. He's the head church guy, okay? And he always does shrooms and sees God, and she does shrooms with him to see God, and they see God in very different ways, and the way she sees it, I see it. But the point of that is, I don't see it as like I just see it as love. That's the easiest thing. And so the point of what I'm trying to say here is, the reason why you feel incomplete is because you're not experiencing the true enlightenment of love. And I think the problem is that as just humans, we have very distorted ideas of love and romance and what love looks like. And even just that, like, you know, we say, oh, I love you all the time, but do we even really know what love means, what love actually is? You know, and that makes me go back to that Bible quote, you know, love is patient, love is kind, love allows and gives, you know, shit like that. And I think what the universe is trying to get you to recognize is that your blessings are not meant to just be segregated to a few areas of your life. You're meant to be blessed in all areas of your life, and you're meant to find happiness and meaning in all areas of your life. And the thing is that when we talk about this passionate, genuine love, how that love turns out or what happens with it, you know, that differs for every person and every experience. And you can't anticipate what is going to happen. But this ash card has some really beautiful advice that I happened to write down before the reading started. And it says, when in doubt, be like ash. It is silken, light, and easily carried by the wind. Soften into the memories and the tears. Eventually, forgiveness follows and the heart travels alight. And so the point of this is saying, you know, obviously what I just said, but also, even if you fall madly in love with someone, which the process of falling madly in love with yourself is really awesome, and I think that's where you're at, but what's blocking you is the fact that I think that if you're unable to receive love from your external world, it's going to be really hard to truly integrate it internally. But I think what you're not realizing is no matter what, it will be okay. When you soften into the memories and the tears, eventually forgiveness follows and the heart travels alight. So any experiences you do have, you will move forward from them. There will be growth and you will learn. And I really do genuinely believe that the divine does not bring anyone into our lives, which I would argue that the divine bringing people into our lives, you know when someone's heaven sent. And I think that the divine is saying you can trust us to bring you someone that's gonna love you and gonna support you in the ways that you deserve. And so I think really what this pep talk I think is gonna be about as we get into the tarot cards here is the fact that you can't fully say you've transformed until your understandings and your viewpoints of love and your worthiness of love and your worthiness of passionate, true love have shifted. Because I think there's this belief deep down that any true love that you experience will be ripped from you, or that it won't actually be true, or that it will just hurt you or be painful or things like that, which you'll want to read Alan Watts' The Wisdom of Insecurity, if that's the case. Because anything that beautiful in life is gonna, anything that feels that good, like that, there's always gotta, like, everything is dual, you know what I mean? Like, when you have really good times, of course there are gonna be more difficult times, but that doesn't mean there won't be any more good times. I think the point of what the universe is trying to get at here is that you have certain limiting beliefs around what you are deserving of and what you're not deserving of. And the things that you do believe you're deserving of, you're already receiving. And the only reason you're not receiving what your other things that you're worthy of receiving, which I think in this case is like passionate love, like a true love connection, is because of your subconscious beliefs that either you don't deserve it, or maybe you found it and you're afraid to receive it or afraid to interact with it. Maybe you're running from it. But I think no matter what, this is the universe saying, not only are you so worthy of love, but you can handle it when it finds you. And that this process of loving yourself and this process of becoming a better person and becoming a person that you're proud of and becoming secure and stable within yourself, like, those are all wonderful things. And the fact that you have yourself to rely on, and you'll always have your relationship with yourself. And I think one thing that you need to know is that that is a very special and valuable thing to have. But life can get lonely, like shit. And I think that the universe wants you to understand that you deserve to experience all types of happiness and all types of love, not just familial, not just friendly, not just platonic, you know? You deserve all of it. So let's go ahead and see, Spirit, what pep talk do you want to give pile 3? Because this has kind of been all over the place. So we have the 4 of Wands. I can't make this shit up. The universe brings all I need to feel blissful. We have the Queen of Cups. I trust my knowing and follow my heart. I'm actually going to bring these down a little bit. I got a new filming setup, and so it allows my camera to be higher, but I forget that I have more room now. Okay, let's see what else. A 5 of Swords. This has come out for every single pile so far. That is so funny. Well, it's not funny in the sense that, like, the 5 of Swords isn't a fun card, but... Okay, we have the 9 of Wands. I am as strong for as long as I need to be strong. There we have the Tower. I surrender and know how to go forward. And we have the 6 of Cups. I remember and treasure past happiness. And on the back of the deck, we have the 7 of Cups, and it says, I trust myself to see the truth. So one reason I really like this deck is because they have like affirmations on the bottom, and I think that these could be really helpful for yourself. But we have to talk about the fact that the 4 of Wands came out first. And what did it say in this book? What did Rhoda's card say? Become complete within yourself while still holding space for the sacred lover who is awaiting your reunion in this lifetime. And it says there is a deep vulnerability that comes with sacred union. So I do think that I think that if you pick this pile, there is, for some of you, one, but for others, multiple divine lovers that you're meant to experience, you know? For some, I mean, obviously the 4 of Wands is a very twinny card, and you'll know if you're in one of those. If not, like I will always say, you know, you'll know whether you're in one of those or not. It's not my place to say whether that is or not, but one thing I will say is that, first of all, the affirmation the universe brings all I need to feel blissful, I think is really important, because I think that the universe is trying to bring you either people or experiences that could help you be more blissful and more celebratory, and you may be actively pushing them away out of fear and then wondering, why isn't the universe bringing me what I want? And it's like, well, it's because you won't sign for the package. Like, come on, pile 3. Like, I can try and deliver it as much as I want, but if you're not there to receive it, if you can't sign for it, it's gonna be returned back to sender. Come on. But also, with this 4 of Wands being here, you know, this is a card of union. This is a card of celebrations. And I think the universe is saying, especially if you have a divine counterpart, that you wonder, can we really be in union with one another? And that's a whole other thing that I really don't want to get into too deeply, but because there's a lot I could talk about with divine counterparts. But I think one thing that you worry about is that, one, if it's related to a divine counterpart, I think the universe is saying that union is absolutely something that can happen should it be something you both want. And I think you have to ask yourself if you truly want it or if you're afraid of it. I think no matter what, like with the 4 of Wands being here, I think that you are meant to share union with someone, or maybe for some of you, like multiple people if you're polyamorous, or, you know, just throughout time, you know, seeing someone, and then we grow and we learn and we meet someone new, you know. Some people are in our life for a reason. Some people are in our life for a season. And some people are a whole ass lifetime. And so for some of you, I think that that spirit is really saying that all this work you've been doing is to be able to be a healthy, strong partner and align with someone who's the same way. But for others, I think, you know, your past may be really holding you back from being open and authentic and trusting what your heart tells you. With the Queen of Cups here, I trust my knowing and follow my heart. For some of you, I feel like if there's a divine counterpart in the picture, you might actually be like holding the connection back, in the sense that you might be really focused on what happened in the past. You might be really focused on differences, or you might be having trouble forgiving the past. And that might be something where the universe is saying, you know, what's hurt? Is it your heart or is it your ego? You know, what is your heart telling you about this situation? Because your heart will never lie. Your heart always knows the truth. And I think too, you know, our head and our heart can be very conflicting. But I think one thing that you need to know is that love and relationships are scary. Like, there's just kind of no way around that. You know, when you're putting your whole ass heart into another thing, there is a possibility that it can get hurt. But you've been through the fire and the flames, and you'll do it again. What? Oh my God, that song is actually really fire. Fire and the Flames song. Is that Metallica? I don't know. I'm not a huge hard rock or rockin'. I mean, I like rock, but I don't listen to it like all the time. But it's like, it's that guitar song with like the really, really crazy guitar music. Anyway, with the Seven of Cups here, I think that you're very afraid of getting yourself into a situation where you're blinded to the truth. You know, obviously we see people in toxic relationships, and it's so obvious to us, but not to them. And I think that you worry about getting yourself into a situation like that and not seeing the truth. And the thing is that you can trust yourself to see the truth, because you will see it eventually. And sometimes people are very good at pulling the wool over our eyes or presenting a version of themselves that isn't true, but it can't last forever. And let me just say now, I don't think the universe would intentionally send you someone that is going to pull the wool over your eyes. But, you know, we live in a planet of 8 billion people. Obviously not everyone is honest and true, but when you feel a true and genuine connection with someone, it's so undeniable that, like, you'll know. I'll say this. My parents have been married for over 30 years. And they always say, when you know, you know. And I trust them with that. And I think that if you don't know, it's just because you haven't met them yet, or you don't know yet, but that doesn't mean you won't, because you will at some point. And I think the universe is telling you that you are, one, more than capable of seeing red flags, and two, knowing you can trust yourself. And like, you've already have been reflecting on just how far you've come and how much you've grown and how much you've evolved. And I think you're just very afraid of being brought back to square one. But what the universe needs you to understand is that square one doesn't exist. You are already at square one. And like, you've done a lot since then. It's not even possible to go back there. And so I think what the universe wants you to understand is that there will be times where you have to start over. There will be times where you feel knocked down and where you have to get back up. But not all... But like, a truly loving relationship, whether it lasts forever or it just lasts a time, I think is always worth it. You know, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. And I think only people who have loved and lost can really say that confidently, because if you never loved at all, you'd have no idea what you're missing. And I think one thing that you need to know is that you might actively be holding happiness back or pushing beautiful opportunities away because you're afraid of having the rug ripped out from underneath you. But with the Tower card here, I surrender and know how to go forward. You know, the Star always comes after the Tower. And the only time a tower is knocked down is when it's not solid and it's built on illusions rather than a sturdy structure. And you've been building yourself up on an incredibly sturdy structure. And I think what the universe needs you to understand is that you have solid intuitive guidance, and you can trust that intuitive guidance to tell you what's right or not. You're not motivated by the same things you once were. You're not drawn to the same energies you once were. You're in a much different place than you were, I think, the last time you were in a deep connection, or you're in a much different place the last time you were even in a relationship. So I think what the universe is trying to get you to understand is that, like, there will always be ups and downs in relationships. I mean, it's two people or multiple people trying to come together and have harmony, and it's hard enough staying in balance with yourself. So adding another person, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be things that you need to grow through and work through, and it's not going to be sunshines and rainbows. You know, we can't all be Cinderella. She didn't have mental illness somehow, and Mennermans is at a ball, but, like, we're not Cinderella, and that's not really how life works. And I'm rambling. And I think that's the thing too. You know what you do to yourself? You ramble, or not ramble, but you're very good at distracting yourself. Like, when you find something that you don't want to address that makes you uncomfortable, you're really good at distracting it with something else. And so I think the universe is saying, you'll know when you meet the right people whether they're worth taking the risk of opening your heart or not. But I promise you, you're strong enough to be vulnerable, and you're strong enough to get through anything that stands in your way. And I hate talking about it like this, talking about love like this, because there's beautiful aspects of love. But the problem is that you're not open to seeing them because you're too focused on, well, what happens if I get it ripped away? What happens if it fails? What happens if this person betrays me? What happens if, like, you are, it's like the universe wants you to go swimming, and you're like, and you, like, haven't even had swim lessons yet, but you're already like, oh, well, this is, like, the worst season to buy swimsuits. And, like, even if I did buy a swimsuit right now, I don't know if I would love it anyway. And, like, what if I get there and then someone's wearing the same swimsuit? Like, it's like you're looking at things that are completely irrelevant, that, one, even if they are issues, you'll cross that bridge when you get there. And two, you can't, those fears aren't even valid because you haven't even taken the steps to even be open to that possibility even occurring. But it's like, I think that you're very good at finding any sort of excuse to keep yourself safe, and that's absolutely okay and understandable. But I think you're ready for more growth. I think you're really ready to let go of the past. And part of letting go of the past is letting go of that fear of being vulnerable and recognizing that not every person out there is horrible and wants to hurt you. In fact, there's lots of really, really awesome people out there who have also been hurt, who are also afraid to be vulnerable, who also are prone to miscommunicating and prone to being afraid to open up and being afraid to get involved with someone. And I think, you know, it's a fucking process, and it's not easy, and it's scary, and yeah, like, the universe is confirming all of that. But what they're saying is that you're strong enough to get through anything. And I think once you see what the divine has in store for you, you'll be so grateful you had the courage to be vulnerable and had the courage to open yourself up, because I think that there could be a really, really, really beautiful union in your life. And actually, this is really weird, but Spirit is making me get a specific book. Is it even in my closet? I hope it is. Oh, ha. Yes, it is. Okay. So if you want to learn how to read tarot, this is the book that I used. I also have a video on how to read tarot. It should be in my face reveal playlist. But I specifically wanted to read the Six of Cups and the Four of Wands in this book because it has like meanings for all different types. And I wanted to read it for both love. I wanted to read the love part for the Four of Wands and the Six of Cups. Why this book? I don't know. We'll see. What Spirit's trying to get, what messages they're trying to get out. Okay. So let's see, Six of Cups in love. The amount of times I have seen the Six of Cups show up when people were about to connect with their twin flames or soulmates is absolutely unbelievable. It makes sense because the energy of this card is so sweet and tender, and usually the connection between two people goes back beyond just this lifetime to the lifetimes before, if you believe in that sort of thing. Either way, it's a feeling of familiarity, of coming home. It honestly doesn't get much sweeter than that. On the flip side, this can bring back people or events you may rather not have run into, but that have a way of resurfacing. For example, a toxic ex who texts or calls you at 2 a.m. when you've made it pretty clear that you guys were definitely over. The Six of Cups can suggest feelings of tenderness, but more than anything, it's a card of reconnection. So that talked about a toxic ex and then also a deep soul connection. There is such a difference energetically and feeling wise between a toxic ex and a soul connection. And when you feel a soul connection, you will know it. You may not know it immediately, but once you have felt it, you will know it because it is different. But let's look at the Four of Wands too, because I wanted you guys to see that, or I wanted, but Spirit wanted. They're telling me to read this one as well. Okay. The Four of Wands brings commitment and stability to a relationship. Sometimes this means making the relationship exclusive between you and someone you love, perhaps choosing to marry or build a home. The number 4 within tarot and numerology always bring a solid foundation to support the rest of your journey, and that's what the Four of Wands brings to you now. You are not only happy, but are also celebrating important accomplishments or milestones with friends and family. This card is a strong connection to our relationships with people we truly love, care for, and admire. And I think that's the thing. You want to be in a relationship with someone that you love, care for, and admire, or you want to be, I think you're not trusting the universe to bring you truly loving connections. The problem is that the universe can't necessarily, give you like cheat sheets and say, hey, by the way, this one's actually like pretty selfish and like probably won't give you much. This is the one actually that we had like planned for you, but we want you to see the other one first, because then you'll realize how horrible they are, and you'll learn a lot about what you don't want in life and what you don't deserve. And anyway, I think what the universe is saying is that you have to trust what your heart is telling you and trust those feelings, because there is no way for the universe to say, this is the one we want for you. That's why when you know, because that's the universe's way of communicating. That's why as a medium, when I am talking to the universe, it literally uses everything to talk to me. Feelings, ways of talking, communicating, everything shifts. So like what you need to know is that you might overthink things and be worried, but you can trust yourself to see the truth, and you can trust yourself to take the next steps, and trust that should any challenges come up, should any difficulties come up, not only are you powerful enough to get through it, but you can trust yourself to carry yourself through anything. And I think the thing is that the universe wants you to know that there is a relationship out there, or a person out there that will love you just as much as you love them and will help carry you too. And I think once you are in a connection with someone where you feel this and you understand this, it'll be so undeniable that you'll almost have to be open to it. But I think really I feel like I'm kind of talking in circles a little bit. And so I think really what this pep talk is about is the universe not necessarily denying that life can be challenging and that relationships can be hard and scary, and being vulnerable is difficult, and it takes a lot of courage to do that, and it can be really scary, but it's when it's true and when it's real, it is one of the most profound and beautiful things in the entire world. And I'm coming from a perspective of saying that I've never had the luxury of being able to truly experience that for myself, in the sense of like this Four of Wands energy. But I know that's a possibility for myself, and I know that everybody should have that possibility, and everybody deserves that possibility. And I think one thing that you need to know is that I think that there's a lot of emphasis in today's society around being independent and doing everything your way, and we don't need love, we just got money and booze and who cares and blah. And I think we're really missing out on how beautiful love can be. And sure, if there hasn't been any positive loving relationships modeled to you, it's hard to believe that those could even exist. But I am here to say that positive loving relationships do exist and can last. I mean, my parents have been a really excellent example of that and modeled unconditional love to me from a young age. Not saying that you need to give unconditional love to everyone, but what I am saying is that you can't fully and authentically and radically live your life if you're not allowing love into it. And I'm not just saying love from a romantic perspective, but from all perspectives. But I think, you know, a divine counterpart love is one of the deepest kinds of love you can have, I think. And, you know, it's hard to understand until you've experienced it. And even once you've experienced it, it's hard to believe it. But when you feel it, you know it, because there's just no other feeling like it. And I think what the universe wants you to understand is that love shouldn't be a punishment, and they don't want to punish you. You've seen all the blessings and how much you've been able to accumulate for yourself and how much you've grown and transformed. Why would that transformation not also lead to you being a transformed version of yourself that's ready to receive healthy, happy, true, authentic love with another person that you either already know or have yet to meet? Like I said, I think everyone's situation is different, but you're being encouraged by the divine to reassess how you view love and look at your limiting beliefs when it comes to love, and look at your limiting beliefs when it comes to your deservingness of love, and recognize that not only are you worthy of receiving this, but that you can and will, and that there is someone out there for you. And for some of you, you already know who that is, and for others, you've yet to meet them. And that's the beautiful thing. It's all a divine mystery. But the one thing that you do need to know is that if you trust your knowing and follow your heart, you will end up exactly where you want to be. And no matter what, no matter how a true love connection with someone ends up, it is better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. But I think that's the thing, is like, you're looking at a potential love connection as a heartbreak before you've even gone on the first date. You know what I mean? It's like, and for a lot of divine counterpart connections, you know, they don't happen in a very like traditional 3D date, get married, blah. They don't happen in those traditional ways or in a very traditional linear format. And I think one thing that you need to know is that you don't have to place societal expectations upon a connection, and that you can trust whatever your heart tells you, and that's okay. I think the biggest thing that the divine wants you to know is that there is no rug that you're standing on that's going to be pulled out from underneath you. I mean, you could be standing on a rug right now. I'm standing on one, but like, it's not going to be pulled out from underneath you. It's there to stay. And in fact, you've done a lot of the difficult work, and any red flags or anything that you may need to protect yourself from, or anyone that you may need to set boundaries with, you are well equipped to set those boundaries and keep yourself protected from those types of people. But I think that what you're not anticipating is that, what if not everyone is super nefarious? And what if someone just genuinely wants to love you and cherish you for like the beautiful person that you are? What if the universe wants you to see how much it loves you through the eyes of another lover? Everybody deserves to feel this sort of love, and unfortunately not everyone does, but everyone deserves to. And I think the universe is saying, don't settle for something less than you know you deserve, and don't push something beautiful away just because you're afraid of losing it, because otherwise you're just accepting mediocrity, because it's not painful to lose that. And I think with the Nine of Wands here, really ask yourself if you're putting up these walls to protect yourself, or you're putting up walls to keep any connection out that could possibly harm you. So I don't know how much of this is a pep talk, but I feel like it's what you needed to hear. And I think the biggest thing that the universe wants you to know is that you've made it this far and you're fine. We promise you, you can handle anything that is thrown your way. And I think that you're just going to be shocked and deeply humbled at how much the divine wants to bless you and how many blessings you have in your future that the divine is getting you ready to receive. So just remember, even when you feel fear, don't block your blessings. Don't block your blessings. Be open to what the divine has to show you. So we're going to go ahead and finish this reading off now with some final advice. And I did quickly want to mention that Bow Life, Vanessa Soumayina's company, was so kind and sent me her new oracle deck, the Wild Muse Oracle. This is the guidebook for it. This is the back of what the cards look like. If you're interested in getting this deck or any of her decks or anything from her site Bow Life, you can get it for 10% off, which also benefits me. So if you use code ASO10 on her website Bow Life, which will be linked below, you can get a bit of a deal on any of her stuff and also support me in the process. But to start, for your advice, we have the best of you. And I think that this is beautiful because this is really like Empress energy with this number 3. And I think the universe is really just encouraging you to continue becoming your best self, to continue taking care of yourself, especially when it comes to like self-care things like eating what makes you feel good and making sure you're exercising, or at least making time to go for walks or move. Like, it doesn't even have to be exercise, like just movement, or doing things that make you feel your best, you know, making sure you're doing little self-care things that make you feel good. I think the more goodness you give to yourself, it will help you attract the right people into your life, or attract the type of love that you're wanting or the type of love that you're fearing. But I think the universe is saying more than anything, you deserve to feel good. So continue investing in yourself. It's like, what did it say? What did the end of it say? I'm so bad at remembering. Become complete within yourself while still holding space for that sacred lover who's awaiting your reunion in this lifetime. So it's like, continue finding wholeness within yourself, and that will help draw a reunion towards someone that you could really fall in love with. Okay, let's see what else. We have held sureness of soil, unseen help, support community. Yeah, so this is your guide saying, like, we've got you. Like, we've had you, we've still got you, we're still holding you, and we will hold you through this. And not only that, like, I think that you have ancestors that are in cahoots in terms of helping you find this person or reunite with a person or people, or like the right lovers for you. But I think what you need to know is that there's a lot of unseen support around you, whether you're aware of it or not. And I think one thing you need to know as well is that you are being held through this, and you are being loved through this. And even if it doesn't feel that way, it doesn't mean that doesn't exist. And to remember that you are so loved, and it's only natural that the universe would want you to receive that love in your external reality as well. We have the Otter Spirit. You are never alone. Yes, that is the divine saying twice, like, we've got your back, we love you. Like, you had literally had 2 goddesses come out for you that are like, hey, we want to talk about all your blessings. Why won't you let us bless you more? Like, come on, let us bless you more. Like, this is such beautiful, beautiful energy. And I think what you need to know is that, especially if you are a divine counterpart that's in separation with someone, to know that that separation is a fallacy. Like, you shouldn't even really theoretically use the words in separation, because you're not separate from them. Like, it might feel that way because you're not interacting with them in the physical world, but connections like that, there's always energetic interactions happening, and there's really, we are connected, you know, you and me through this screen, but also we're made of the same shit, like bones and muscles and all that crap, you know, we're all the same. We may look different on the outside, but we're all the same. And I think one thing that you need to know is that you're no different from any other of God's children, and God loves all of us. And it's only natural that the divine would want you to experience the beautiful love it has for you through another or others. Let's see what else we have. Attuned to the divine. The universe is literally like, listen to us. Like, I'm literally seeing right now, like, oh, that Tom Hanks movie where that guy's like, look at me, I'm the captain now. That's what the divine wants to do, and be like, listen, we have got your back. Just listen to us. Just trust us. Don't let your ego trick you into thinking that we don't want the best for you. And finally, we have surrender negative thinking. You have control over your thoughts. When negative thoughts surface, say thank you for sharing and quickly refocus on positive affirmations. Because that's the thing, negative thoughts don't necessarily manifest, but they can hold your manifestations back, you know, because you're like, if you affirm that energy. But really, Spirit is saying, like, the only thing stopping you from receiving like the beautiful true love that you desire is your fear that you'll lose it, your resistance to receiving it, and the subconscious belief that you won't get it. Literally, if you just focus on continuing to become the best version of yourself and trust that the right person will show up at the right time and you will know when it is right, you just gotta keep doing you till then. Just have the time of your life and live it up, and the universe will let you know. Not even the universe, you will let you know. You'll know. When you know, you know. Like I said, when you know, you know. But I know that I think that I am at the end of this reading. So that is where I'm going to leave things, pile 3. I really hope that made sense, and I really hope I did this reading justice. I hope it wasn't too confusing, but I feel like there was a lot going on, and I don't even know. I don't know. I hope this was some sort of a pep talk, and I hope that it helped, because that was my intention, was I hope that it will help. But that's where I'm going to leave this reading. Thank you guys so much for watching and for being here. And also thank you so much for watching my ads or just letting them play in the background. That is the simplest and easiest way to support me and my channel if you're appreciative of what I do. But if you'd like to support me in other ways, you can like this video. You can comment down below. Let me know how it resonates. You can subscribe if you haven't already and click that little bell notification to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. You can also check out my social media, which will be linked below, though do be aware I have tons of scammers pretending to be me. I do not offer personal readings, and I will not slide into your DMs to offer you a personal reading because I have 60 unread text messages and plenty of friends that wish I would text them back. I don't have time to do readings. So if someone is in your DMs saying they're me, they're a liar. And I also have merch, which is linked below. But that's all I have, so thank you guys so much for being here and for letting me read your cards. I hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye! Hi there, pile 4. If you guys chose the Rhodochrosite turtle and these 2 oracle cards, this is going to be your pep talk from the universe. So we're just going to use these 2 oracle cards first to get a kind of overall idea of what this pep talk is going to be about or what your current energy is. So if it resonates, you found the right pile, but if it doesn't, I would try a different pile, and if none of the piles resonate, I'd say there's likely no message for you in this video, but I and the universe are still rooting for you. Anyway, to start with your pile, we have coagulation and we have Buddha. And I actually wanted to read what the book says about Buddha because I thought it would be more succinct than me just like trying to remember it off the top of my head. So it says, Buddha, the one who is aware. Buddha is not just one person, but anyone who has an aware and blessed soul. Right now, that is you. You've woken up to your true self and let go of the illusions that were binding you to the material world. You have taken off the mask of security and given a good look into the vastness of your own soul. You've realized that nothing is inherently good or bad, but rather just is. You understand the non-dual nature of the world and are letting go of the judgments of the mind. Hold the knowledge that we are all Buddha nature. It just takes remembering. So this is really interesting because coagulation talks all about the physical world and the physical elements. So what's really interesting to me is I think it's going to definitely differ where people are at in terms of your energy, and there's quite a few things that I'm seeing here. For some of you, you could be newly like spiritually awakened and kind of just come to these recent like Buddhic realizations. Maybe you've just recently become aware and detached and kind of let go of the physical and the material. For others, it may be that you actually are very good at kind of the spiritual aspects of life. It's easy for you to fall into these blissful states of peace or into meditation and things like that, but maybe you struggle to bring that wisdom down to the 3D or to apply it to your material world. Or maybe you've been in a major hermit mode for a lot of you, where you've kind of been taking a break from the outside world and really just working on yourself. And if that's the case, I think that you have reached this point of enlightenment where you've had some, either like a big aha moment, or you've reached the state that you were meant to. And the universe might be encouraging you to kind of slowly but surely put your toe back into the water and kind of get back out into humanity again, which might be overwhelming. No matter what, though, I think what's happening here is you're learning to balance your deeper spiritual truths with the outside world, and learning how to navigate both and how to navigate this version of yourself that you've become, while also navigating the infuriating thing that is society. And I think one thing that the universe is letting you know is that society doesn't get any less irritating. We just get better at tolerating it. And that's a huge reason as to why your own spiritual practice and your own self-care is incredibly important, because the outside world could really make it difficult to want to live sometimes, or want to exist in society sometimes. But I think you're being encouraged to remember, especially if you're reintegrating into society again and like leaving your house again and things like that, that you have a different perspective now, and that you don't have to let the infuriating small human things get to you maybe the way that they did in the past. But also with this coagulation, for some of you, there's definitely a message about like decluttering or getting kind of like past energies out of your space. So especially like if you've been wanting to clean out your closet or get rid of things that no longer serve you, I think you're really being encouraged to let go of the things that do not spark joy, in the words of Marie Kondo. And I think that you're realizing that, you know, you're finding your true happiness, your true state of inner peace within. And so I think that actually you're being encouraged to look at when your environment does not spark joy and that's taking up space, so that you can just allow more room for, make more space for whatever wants to come in. I think no matter what though, like I could go really off the deep end with like all of the different ways that this could be, like this energy could be applicable to you. But I think I'm going to kind of summarize it in this way. You're getting a good handle of your own spirituality and learning a lot. And you're also recognizing that just because you're reaching these deeper spiritual truths and reaching these deeper understandings doesn't mean you won't still have to deal with the BS of the regular world. And it doesn't mean you won't still have to deal with the BS of being a human. You know, we really are all just apes with different technology than the ones that came before us. And I think one thing that you need to be patient with yourself about and kind to yourself about is the fact that you are human, and that you are going to make mistakes, and that you're not going to be perfect, and that sometimes you might blow up on someone, or you might have an emotional reaction that is out of character for you, or you might say something that you don't really mean. But that's okay, because you're human and you can forgive yourself. And really what matters is awareness, so that we can grow and change and be better. And that's the thing, if you always have the intention of being better and learning and growing, then you can't ever beat yourself up for doing something that maybe you know is wrong, but accidentally doing it in the moment. Like for example, I mean, I'm not a parent, but I'm sure like yelling at your kids doesn't feel very good, but it also probably doesn't feel very good when they're not listening to you and you need to keep them safe, or you need them to get something done, or you need something and they're not doing it. You know, sometimes some things happen that we don't necessarily mean, and it just happens. So I don't know if maybe some of you have been feeling extra guilty for maybe how you were in the past, which that's kind of been a huge theme in the readings today, has been like beating yourself up for what you didn't know in the past, when really we should have compassion for ourselves in those cases, because we were doing the best we could with the knowledge we had then. And it's great that we've learned and we can do better now, but we were doing the best we could at that time. It's like, I can't come up with a good example. Oh, it's like, you know, living 200 years ago and having to write a letter to your great aunt Frances saying, hey, we really need this today, this buggy. Can you bring your buggy over so we can, I don't know, till some dirt? And, well, great aunt, is she grandma, aunt, I don't know, Frances lent her buggy out to someone else. And it's not like you could beat yourself up and be like, oh, I should have texted her. Phones didn't exist. You couldn't text great aunt Frances, you know? But like, I guess the point of that weird example was, you know, in that case, you couldn't text her because you didn't have that technology. And in your case, you couldn't have done the thing differently because you already did the thing, and you did the thing based upon the knowledge you had. And at that point, you didn't have the knowledge you needed in order to do the different things. So don't beat yourself up about it. Case in point. Also, you're being introduced or reintroduced to the idea that so much of life is just learning how to let go and surrender to what is and find your own peace in the moment. Especially because a lot of things in our outside physical world we can't control. For example, traffic. Me being stuck in traffic makes me irrationally angry, and I am either very fun to drive with or not fun to drive with, depending on how funny you like road rage. But you know, the point of that is I should be evolved enough to, you know, just breathe and get over it. But the human part of me thinks, how am I supposed to get over this? There's someone going slow in the left lane when they could be in the right lane. But instead, they're going the same speed as the person in the right lane, holding up everyone behind them. And how am I not supposed to be irrationally angry at that? That's a dick thing to do, you know? And so it's like, it's okay for me to be angry about that. Same way it's okay for you to be angry about that, or angry about annoying things that happen in your day, because humans are fucking annoying. We're annoying as shit. We're so annoying and impractical and stupid. But like, isn't it amazing that the divine loves us anyway, and that we can fuck up so much and it can still love us and forgive us? And that's the beautiful thing, is like, you will fuck up. I will fuck up. We will all fuck up. But we can learn and grow from those fuck-ups and be forgiven for them and evolve from them. And we can make the same fuck-up, and it's okay, because we can learn again and forgive ourselves again. And I think you're just becoming aware of the infinite process of life that is just being and experiencing and dealing with the ramifications of being and experiencing until you're able to re-be and experience once more and then process that. I don't know. Life is weird. And I think you're just really being encouraged to continue down the path you're going. But I'm going to pull some tarot cards now, because I did not need to go on that driving rant. Although I will say that it is one of my biggest pet peeves. And I just have to say that if you are a licensed driver in the United States and you go slow in the left lane, buddy, stop. Get back in the right lane. Like, that's either drive faster or get in the right lane, damn it. Because it actually does make me irrational. Like, I just want to get where I need to go. I hate driving, It gives me anxiety, and it just drives me fucking insane when people won't get out of the way for no reason other than they just want to drive like a bitch. Like, drive like a bitch in the right lane, not the left lane. Anyway, okay. All right, there was no reason for me to continue that. So I hope you forgive me and have compassion for the fact that I have no patience for people that are shitty drivers. Okay. Anyway, this is about you though. So let's talk about your pep talk. So Spirit, what is this pep talk about? Because I'm still kind of lost here. We have the King of Wands. I am successful in all I do. I wanted to mention, by the way, the reason I picked this deck is because there's these really cool affirmations on the bottom. So if there's any that stick out to you, I would either write them down or screenshot them so that you can repeat them to yourself at a later date, whenever you might need them. But what else? What other encouragement would you like to give? We have the Five of Wands. I stand my ground and look for peace. You probably didn't feel it after hearing me just about have a conniption over left lane losers. Actually, I call them left lane Louis, not losers, but they are losers for going slow in the left lane. And if you do that, I hope you feel enough shame to change. No offense. I don't think shame is a great thing, but if it will stop people from doing that, then I'm kind of into it. Okay, we also have the Nine of Cups. I trust the flow of life. We have Citrine. I manifest perfectly what I desire. We have the Three of Swords. I see things exactly as they are. And on the back of the deck, we have the Tower with I surrender and know how to go forward. Okay, so this is really interesting. Let me finish burping, sorry. Okay, now I'm done, I think. So the Emperor was underneath the Tower. And you could almost argue that these are very opposite energies, even though they're both cards are ruled by Mars. You know, the Emperor is all about being in control. It's divine masculine energy, at least when it's upright. And whereas, you know, divine masculine energy is very structured and, you know, solid and dependable, and it can be controlling, or you could say practical, you could say regimented. Whereas the Tower is very chaotic. It is sudden upheaval, change that comes out of nowhere that couldn't have been planned. And I think what you need to know is that I think that maybe you started your spiritual journey, whether consciously or not, with this goal of feeling more in control of yourself and of your life, and feeling like you're the master of your own destiny and that you know where you're going. But I think what you're realizing, or at least what the universe is trying to get you to realize, is that you're not going through all this to become the Emperor. You're going through all of this to be able to flow through any life state and be okay. With the Tower, I surrender and know how to go forward. You weren't meant to learn all of this stuff just to control it, because you can't control it. And a lot about, you know, Buddhic consciousness is learning how to be. You know, what did it say in there? I literally had it. I turned the page. One who is aware. Hold the knowledge that we are all Buddha nature. It just takes remembering. And I think for you, the pep talk here is, one, you're doing great. Like, no matter where you're at, you're doing great. You're just being encouraged to reassess the purpose for all this evolution and the value that you get from it. Because I think you might be looking at things like, okay, so I should be able to feel more in control. Why don't I feel in control? It's because you were never in control. The idea that you were ever once in control of anything, besides the few things that we can control in terms of ourselves, most control is an illusion. And the idea that we have control over things is an illusion, except for the immediate things that we actually do have over our control. Well, like, should I film a video today, or should I go for a walk? Like, shit like that, you know what I mean? But outside of that, there's a lot of things outside of our control. And the universe is trying to get you to let go of the belief that that you ever were in control of what was happening. So with this Three of Swords here, I see things exactly as they are. I think one of the most heart-wrenching things is to realize that the idea that we could be in control of everything is an illusion, and that it is kind of difficult to realize that there are things that we just can't control and that we have to surrender to, and it can be kind of painful. But when that happens, when we get our mind out of the way and start allowing the universe to guide us instead, and our inner wisdom to guide us instead, that's when the real magic starts. Because instead of being guided by our ego or by our limiting beliefs or by what we think, we're instead guided by the things that we can't really see, but that lead us to things well beyond we could have ever imagined or desired or realized we could even have. I actually talk about this a lot. I've talked about this before. I don't know how much I've talked about it in readings. I've mentioned it a few times, but you know, obviously in the spiritual community, manifestation is really huge, and I definitely don't think that there's anything wrong with manifesting. And like, I also manifest myself, but not necessarily very consciously all the time. And the reason for that is that I believe that the divine knows me better than myself, and I don't necessarily know what I want, but I do know that the divine knows what I need and what will support me and make me happiest. So I just trust that if I follow the divine, I will be able to manifest things even beyond my wildest desires, because I don't even know what my desires are or what life could offer me, I guess. So one thing that life wants you to know is that you don't necessarily have to have a direction for everything, and you don't always have to know what your next step is or what your next move is. You can trust the divine to lead you. But here's the cool thing. With the King of Wands here, I'm successful in all that I do. The divine is also making you aware that you have many options and paths available to you. But not only that, you have a direct connection to the divine now. The fact that you've reached this level in your spirituality means that you know how to reach a set point within yourself where you can make space for the divine to speak to you, to get guidance from them. And that may come in the form of visions. It may come in the form of them telling you to look at a book, or, you know, an intuitive nudge. It doesn't necessarily have to be an angel coming down from the heavens saying, okay, pile 4, here's what you do next. Because guess what? It's highly unlikely it'll happen that way. It will happen because the universe doesn't communicate that way. But you're very connected to the universe, and you can trust that the universe is, one, looking at your best interests, looking after you, and two, you can trust the divine to guide you and lead you, especially when you don't know what your next move is and you're unsure of what life holds. You know, you might be having this realization of, I can have anything I want, or I can do anything I set my mind to. Oh shit, what do I want? Or what do I want to set my mind to? And that's where life is saying, it's okay not to know. And in fact, the more you surrender, the easier we can lead you to everything your heart could possibly desire, even the things that your heart didn't even realize it did desire. But with the Nine of Cups being here, I trust the flow of life. The universe is really just encouraging you to, one, you know, honor what is in your control in terms of helping yourself and finding satisfaction in the present, and also, you know, being able to release and surrender what you're not satisfied with, that you can't necessarily control or change in the moment. That's huge. But also recognizing that you are worthy of very wonderful, beautiful experiences, and recognizing that sometimes we may think an experience is wonderful or beautiful, but it's only until we experience it we realize that not all that glitters is gold. And maybe you got into spirituality through a very convoluted way, like through a really rude awakening, or through a tower moment, or through something like that. And I think what the divine wants you to know, especially if you're newer to all of this spiritual stuff, is that, you know, spirituality isn't just realizing that you've had it all wrong again. Like, once you have the spiritual awakening, it's usually like those really big oh shit, I've been doing everything wrong, or everything is different than I thought. Those don't happen like every single day all the time. They're pretty big major moments, and then once we have clarity of what's not right and what isn't serving us, then usually things kind of chill out after we let go of what's not serving us. For example, usually tower moments happen when the tower is on an unstable foundation and is going to fall anyway. You know, if the tower's on stable foundation, there's usually no way it's going to be knocked down unless the humans that built it choose to. You know what I mean? So, and also with that, you know, obviously like the tower is usually shown as like lightning striking and things like that, because, you know, divine intervention is a thing, but the divine usually doesn't intervene unless it's like absolutely necessary, or it's reached a point where that's the only way that they can open your eyes. But I also feel like part of this pep talk for you is not even about like, I think you know that you're perfectly capable of achieving what you want. I think you know you're perfectly capable of doing a lot. I think you're just like maybe afraid like that you could be wrong, which I don't think there's the idea of right and wrong you want to like just completely get rid of, because once again, that's a judgment of the mind, right or wrong, right? And also, that's really interesting because the Magician is ruled by Mercury, which is communication. It's Virgo, Gemini energy. You know, it literally is the mind. And so I think that if your ideas or if your desires have changed, I feel like that's one thing that the universe is saying that's absolutely okay, and you're allowed to have your desires change. And it might be kind of hard to have your desires change. Like maybe it's difficult to realize the things that we thought we wanted aren't going to fulfill us, and the things that we thought we never wanted could actually make us happier than we ever thought. There's this very paradoxical energy here, and I think maybe that's what you're really struggling with right now, is like the fact that like this and that are true. The fact that, you know, a lot of times like the divine gives us advice that's very like be available, but don't let anyone know, or like that's a bad example, but you know how the divine just gives very paradoxical advice. That's because the universe is incredibly paradoxical. It's that duality. It's the yin yang. It's just the bullshit of life. And I think a lot of what the universe just wants you to know is that you're doing fine and to keep going, and that it's okay not to know, and that it's okay also to not put up with bullshit. Like, part of being a spiritual person does not mean being a doormat for other people's assholery. You're allowed to stand up for yourself. You're allowed to be a human. You're allowed to set boundaries. You're allowed to say no. And that's another thing. I think people have this assumption that just because you're spiritual, it means that you should always be compassionate and always, you know, be kind to others. Sometimes that's just not fucking possible, especially if they're driving slow in the left lane. I can't have compassion there. No. If you are stopping me from getting to my destination in a timely manner, I do not have compassion for you in that moment. I probably would immediately after I passed you, but as long as I'm stuck behind you, I will not have compassion for you. And that's the thing. It's okay not to have compassion all the time. It's okay to be human. And I think you might shame yourself for your human moments. And one thing you have to know is that we all have human moments, especially if you're sitting here and thinking like, oh, Aso how does she have it all figured out? The minute I leave this table, I need you to know, I go right back to being just my regular dumbass self. Like, yes, sure, some of it stays with me, but like this stuff flows through me, not from me. And I need you to know that like I struggle just as much. And I think really what the divine is trying to get you to understand is that becoming spiritual is not about losing your humanness. It's about recognizing that there's something deeper to your humanness than just existing within a physical body, and that there's more to life than what we just see with our own two eyes, and that maybe just because society has decided that X, Y, and Z is normal doesn't mean it should be normal, and doesn't mean it should be good. I think you're really being encouraged by the universe while you're taking this step back, or if you're in a hermit mode, to look at the aspects of society that you don't agree with and really ask yourself, like, what can I do not to adhere to this thing? Or what can I do to protect myself from this more negative energy? Like, I mean, I even noticed that when I spend too much time on social media, like, I just get wildly anxious. Like, there's so many things about life that are not necessarily good for us, but are normalized because we just have done that as a society. And it's really up to ourselves to set boundaries with things. And I think one thing that you need to know is that it's okay to be human, and recognize that your spiritual journey, like I said, is not about you detaching from humanity and becoming a spirit. Like, you didn't come to earth to do that. You came to earth to be a human, but also to integrate the deeper spiritual truths that we all know at a soul level, but that we have to remember. That's what Buddhic consciousness is about, is just you remembering. And I think what you need to do when you're really hard on yourself, and what the divine is encouraging you to do when you're hard on yourself, is remember that you are a human, and that you're not here to be perfect. You're not here to be, to have no lessons or no growth. We're all here in Earth School to grow and learn. But I think one thing that you need to know is that doesn't mean that you're meant to be apart from humanity. Like, this deeper spiritual awareness is not meant to separate you from humanity, but rather to help you more deeply integrate into it in a healthier way, where it doesn't dictate who you are, and it doesn't dictate the type of person you feel safe being, but instead it helps you have compassion for all of these scared souls who don't remember the truth of who they are, who don't know that there's another way to live, who don't know that the divine loves them dearly, that the universe loves them dearly, who don't know that it's okay to make mistakes and be human, who don't know what compassion is like, and who don't know that they may be pissing someone off behind them by going slow in the left lane. And it's easier to have compassion for those people. I don't know if I will, but maybe you will. I guess mine is very specific, but I really think, there is a shadow that us spiritual people can have, where the light of the divine is so beautiful that it makes it really hard to want to go back and exist on the earthly plane, or get involved with humanity. It's like we almost want to see ourselves as separate from humanity, when that's just not the case. We are just as human as everyone else. And I think, it can be hard to want to interact with humanity, and it can be hard to want to interact with life. But if we don't have compassionate souls like you that are willing to be patient and kind and forgive us, man, we don't have any hope of getting better. And I think that's the thing. The more we can awaken to the truth of ourselves, and the more that we can spread compassion and be kind to others, I think the closer we get to being a little bit better humans than we were before. And I think really what the pep talk the divine is trying to give you is, one, just to keep going, and to be proud of how far you've come, and to be proud of all that you've done, and get excited for where you'll head, but to also know that you are part of being the change that you want to see in the world. And it's important to know that these realizations you've had, and the ways in which you've evolved, not every human has had the luxury of doing yet, and they don't know. And some of them may remember, and some of them may not, and that's okay. But by you remembering, and by you having a more enlightened perspective, you benefit every single human on this planet by doing that. And sure, that might mean at times, you turn the other cheek, or you choose to kill someone with kindness when you may really want to be petty. You can kill someone with kindness or be petty. It really doesn't matter. You learn no matter what. But I think really what the divine wants you to know is that you have no idea how valuable the knowledge you have is and how important it is. And, you know, your spiritual side is something that nobody can take from you. And I think one thing and I think the divine is really just encouraging you to trust the flow of your life and to not let differing opinions or ignorance or prejudice stop you from living your truth, because unfortunately those are just shadow aspects of humanity that we as a collective have to address and deal with. But know that you're doing your part by following your truths and by following the highest version of yourself, and know that that's enough. That helping yourself is the most valuable thing you can do for humanity. And to know that the divine's very proud of you. They're proud of how far you've come. And to remember that even though humanity is very irritating and life is really difficult and there's a lot of suffering in life and there's a lot of hardships and there's a lot of trials, you know, there's a lot of beauty in life too. And there's a lot of beautiful things and a lot of goodness and a lot of kindness. And I think that we don't necessarily see that very often because, one, it's easy to talk about the negative. I don't talk about all of I didn't mention all the people that do get out of my way, that do know how to get back into the right lane. They're geniuses. I applaud them. I will compassion the hell out of them. But that's the thing, that I don't think about those people. I'm focused on the ones that don't get out of my way. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, it's a process of having to reorient ourselves to, you know, look at the glass half full, or at least look at the glass as having water in it and not interpret it in a negative way. But we also have to remember that we live in a profoundly negative society that talks about lots of negative things, and there's just lots of negative energy, and negativity is honestly super contagious. And so I think one thing that your guides want you to know is that you have permission to retreat whenever you really need time to rejuvenate for yourself. But it's also important to know that you're not meant to exist separate from everyone else and on top of your enlightened mountain and not help anyone. Because I think just by having your perspective, just by living your human experience and having kindness and compassion for others while they figure out their own truths, like, you're literally doing the Lord's work by doing that. And you should give yourself a huge pat on the back, because that's an amazing thing, an amazing accomplishment. And I think you need to know that you're doing everything that you've needed to be doing. The one thing that you need to know is that, you know, to remember you're not separate, and that it is a blessing and a curse to remember Buddhic consciousness, I guess, in the sense of, not that it's a curse in the sense that, like, it's a bad thing, but it's a curse to realize that you've gotten access to a deep truth that sets you free, while you have to watch tons of other people be caged in by their fear and allow their fear to dictate their choices. Luckily, that doesn't have to be you. So let's go ahead and get some advice now. I will say we're going to start this advice with Vanessa Soumayina's new oracle deck, the Wild Muse Oracle. This is the guidebook that comes with it. Isn't it pretty? But her company, Bow Life, was kind enough to send me this oracle deck. So if you guys want to get it for yourself or get anything else from her shop, 10% off. If you use code ASO10, you can get 10% off that deck or anything in her shop, and you also support me in the process. But let's go ahead and get your advice. So to start, we have Boss Up and No Strings Attached. So this is really interesting because this is the only pile that got 2 of these cards. And it, once again, is this very, like, Emperor Tower energy, in the sense of, like, you know, she's got total Emperor energy, and this No Strings Attached has total Tower energy. And so I think that this is the divine really encouraging you to continue your own growth, your own journey, live living la vida loca, doing whatever you want to do. Continue to be your boss-ass self and continue to evolve and grow. That is wonderful. But with this no strings attached, I think the divine is saying that you don't have to be held or bound to anything that you feel like stops you from achieving this deep peace within yourself, achieving this deep awareness to yourself. I feel like the divine is just encouraging you to keep going, but also encouraging you to not let anything that holds you back from your peace is something not worth holding on to. And I feel like what they're saying is you'll know when something needs to be let go of or something needs to be released, because it will be holding you back from your peace. And I think one thing you need to know is that you can trust yourself to make those sorts of decisions and know that you won't mess everything up wildly. Like, you can trust yourself. But I think one thing you need to know as well is that this next phase of your journey is about how to interact meaningfully with the world around you, with this new awareness that you have. Like I said, you're not meant to just exist beyond the physical realm. You're meant to coexist, you know, your own deeper truths with the outside world around you, and to literally daddy the fuck out of it, in the sense of like bossing up, you know, like taking action from your perspective and not needing others' approval, you know, not needing other people's validation, and not feeling like, you know, I need to be applauded or praised for what I'm doing, which I'm not saying that I think you need that. Just the way that this, I'm not gonna lie, channeling this message has been really interesting. It's been really weird. So I hope it's like making any sense. But in terms of advice here, I think the universe is really just encouraging you to keep going on your journey, keep going, keep glowing, keep bossing up. With that 5 being there, like, I think that's just a great sign of change. But 5 also makes me think of the Hierophant in the in a tarot deck, and obviously that is about like can be about religion and things like that. But I also kind of see it as like, you know, integrating spiritual wisdom into the physical. And I think that the universe is asking you to continue doing that, but to also not feel like you have to be attached to anything, and that even anything you build, you don't have to hold on to if you don't want to. Or, you know, if you do build things and then decide that you want to knock them down, you can. Or that if you want to build something and sell it, or, you know, you don't have to hold on to everything. And I think too, to know that you can interact meaningfully with the outside world without feeling like you owe it everything, you know? Interacting with the outside world from a place of, okay, I have my needs in check. How can I interact with the world in a meaningful way? I think it's just about finding a balance of what's in your control and what's not, and what adds to your peace and what doesn't, and finding the process of what action do I need to take to uphold my peace, and what action do I need to take in order to feel at peace and feel like I can just be and surrender to what is. I do feel like there's an extra message with this no strings attached, though, that that it is important to have meaningful connections to the earth. So whether that is a special place, or beautiful places that you feel connected to, or physical experiences that you really enjoy, things that make you feel grateful to be human. I think the universe is really encouraging you to find those things to help you feel more attached to the earth. Because I think maybe one thing you might be struggling with is like, you might feel really connected to the divine and spirit, but you may not feel very connected to earth. And so that might make it hard to kind of want to come back and interact with humanity and things like that. And I think the universe is saying that, you know, the earth doesn't just have to be for accumulating resources and things like that. That's not what life is all about. And in fact, there can be really fun aspects of being human, or doing human things that can remind you what a cool experience it is to be human. Like riding roller coasters, or, you know, going to the ocean, or, man, going to a movie, or just watching a movie. Like, come on, Shrek. I can't believe humans made that. Like, humans, we are so messed up and awful, disgusting little creatures, even though we're also amazing and we do really great things, like making Shrek. I think it is a marvel that we made Shrek. And like, I think I'm grateful to be alive because I can watch that movie. And I exist during a time when that movie exists. Imagine living 200 years ago with Aunt Frances, and great Aunt Frances, and neither of you knowing that Shrek exists. How could you be a believer then? Luckily, we don't have to think about a life like that, and we can be at peace. I'm gonna move on to the next advice card now. We also have the Sun, joy, life force, success, vitality, play. This is perfect. So this is actually kind of exactly summarizing what I was trying to say. Life is not meant to just be like accomplishments. You're also meant to enjoy things. You're also meant to have fun and feel light. You know, life can be hard, but it can also be really amazing and really fun. And I think what Spirit is really encouraging you to do is, with this newfound awareness that you have, seek out joyful experiences and really embrace them and be in the present with them, and be able to be grateful for them in the present. You know, think about how many moments you have nostalgia for, where when you experienced them in the present, you didn't appreciate them at the time. And then you look back at it now and you're like, oh, I wish I would have appreciated that more. What you're learning is that life is meant to be appreciated. Every step, every little part of it, every high, every low. And it doesn't matter what part of life you're at, everybody deserves to feel joy. Everybody deserves to feel good, to feel light, you know? And I think what you need to know is that you're not meant to just experience the dark parts, or you're not meant to just hustle and grind. Like, you're not meant to do that, all right? Maybe a little bit. Maybe we're all meant to a little bit, but you're also meant to experience joy. Like, that's what's gonna make you truly love life and wanna move forward and feel grateful for your life experiences. And this is the universe saying, like, if you don't make time for play, nobody will. Like, make time for that joy. Find that joy. Seek out that joy. Like, the best example I can give you is, you know, holidays. Let's talk Christmas, for example, because that's, you know, a major one that a lot of people celebrate around the world. You know, some people hate Christmas. Some people love Christmas. I used to love Christmas growing up, but that's also because my family did a lot to make it fun. Christmas doesn't really have the same ring to it, or isn't really that exciting when I don't decorate my apartment, or I don't, you know, go out of my way to go see lights, or I don't, you know, watch Christmas movies. Like, it's hard to be excited for Christmas when you don't do anything Christmassy or don't really make it fun. You know what I mean? So really, as the wise prophet Hannah Montana once said, life is what you make it, so let's make it rock. There you go. All right, what else? We have the dolphin spirit. This and that are true. I'm pretty sure I said that. So I love this quote, that this and that are true, because it's just, you know, the fact that truths can coexist. You can hate humanity and at the same time love it. You can want to have compassion for the person driving slow in front of you and at the same time want to wrangle their neck. You're allowed to feel multiple things at the same time. And I think that as humans, we have this very deterministic, either yes or no, good or bad, black or white. Like, everything is fucking gray. Everything is in the middle. This and that are true. There is so much to everything. Not everything exists within this binary system. And a lot of things can coexist. And I think what the universe is trying to get you to understand is that accepting all of your experiences, the good and the bad, and still allowing yourself to be, like, that's true power. That's true BDE if I've ever seen it. But we also have new moon in Capricorn, step up and lead. And I think this especially is stepping up and leading when it comes to like your attitude, you know? Like, I think the universe is encouraging you to be a good example for others as well, and to not allow negativity to be as contagious. I think if you're in a leadership role in any way, or if you've been wanting to take on a leadership role, that this might be your sign to do that, that you could be a really great leader. But I think also the universe is just asking you to trust yourself to take action more, because you will be successful. And that in fact, a lot of like your actions come from a pretty rational, aligned, and compassionate place most of the time. So you can trust yourself to make good decisions, and you can trust yourself to recognize when a decision may not be smart to make. I think you just need to have confidence in yourself that you're doing great and that you've learned and evolved a lot. And I think one thing that you just need to know is that everything's gonna be okay, and to have more confidence in what you've learned. Like, you are not the same person you were when you started this journey, and you're powerful. But finally, we have surrender the habit of people pleasing, which I think is a perfect message to finish off on. Speak your needs and be true to yourself. Focus on your own happiness instead of always trying to make everyone else happy. I think that is so true. And I think that's a mic drop on behalf of the universe. So pile 4, I really hope that reading made sense. I honestly have no clue what I just talked about. I don't know, like most people I think know this, but like when I channel, like I'm only kind of half here. So I don't know if any of that made sense, but I hope it did. So I'm gonna leave this reading here. So thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for watching my ads. That's the simplest and easiest way to support me. You don't even have to watch them. You could just leave them play in the background while you like play games on your phone. But if you have YouTube Premium, you just support me by watching me, so thank you. You can also support me in my channel by liking this video, commenting down below, letting me know how it resonates, subscribing if you haven't already, and clicking that little bell notification to be notified whenever I upload a new reading. I will say I do respond to comments more often when I first upload. You can also check out my merch, which is linked below, and you can check out my social media, which is linked below. Though, do be aware that there are tons of scammy scammers that I have a hard time having compassion for, that are pretending to be me, trying to solicit people for personal readings, pretending to be me. So just know that's not me. They're liars and scammers and fakes, and I know if one messages you, you'll say, I know you're not ASO, because ASO doesn't have time to text her friends back. So I know you're a liar and a cheat and a thief. You're stealing her intellectual property. Yeah, block and report them, and don't tell me, because they always block me anyway and there's nothing I can do. But that's all I have for you guys. Thank you for putting up with my especially rambly reading. I really hope you all have a wonderful day or night whenever it is that you're watching this video, and I hope you'll come back and see me again soon. Bye!